Hello everybody and welcome back to the second EU Regionals. Today I'm not alone and we're also there for the first day. Hello Tom, it is great to cast with you again. I hope you're doing great and not look like a hamster like me. Oh, do you hear him? Oh, wait a second. I think you don't hear him right now. Wait, I need to change that because of my great audio display. Oh my god, why did I have that? Wait a second, guys. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm super sorry for that. He's doing it. Pause. And there you go, I think.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Can you
yeah, I think
now?
there you go. There you go. Yeah, perfect. Whew, I saved it, guys. Last time I was casting alone. But for that, I had to fix it. Let me also quickly add that one to the other scenes. So there you go. But yeah, I hope you're doing good today. I hope you are doing good today.
I'm doing pretty fine. I had a bit of a early wake-up call to cast the Asia Pacific regional a little bit earlier on during the morning, and ended up cutting a little bit early because I was kind of feeling not quite strained, but yeah, I was not exactly quite awake yet. But now I'm fully awake. I'm fully nice and easy, and I hope you're gonna have a good recovery, my guy. Because I get it. Like looking like a hamster on one side of the face isn't exactly fun. But I might. I don't know. Like for now, knock on wood, everything's good. But I don't know. I don't know how long it will last.
It looks so weird because I look like a Giga Chat, and I'm not sure if you guys have had that already, like with your wisdom teeth. But it's fine. But then like the dentist goes in like boo boo boo, and they try to remove your teeth, and you're like, dude, just chill a bit. But now everything is fine, actually. I mean, it was 24 hours ago, so everything is good. It looks a bit harder than it is because I can't talk normally. Just a funny feeling, to be honest, because it's all a bit swollen. But I'm hyped to cast the EU Regionals together with you. So we have the top 32 instantly from the matchmaking, I think. And yeah, we're going to see how it goes, because first we're going to have the play-ins. But we also still have to check what matches we'll be casting and what not, which we're gonna do now. I hope that you also hear Tom or Mr. Geek in the other scene, so I'm quickly gonna monitor it. Let me go in there.
We could just try to monitor everything as
perfect.
Goes on. But yeah, a total of 46 teams having registered for today, which means we will have a play-in as the opening match of the day. Play-in means that we are having one round in a single elimination bracket. And then the winners of all of those will actually move directly into the next phase, which will then be played in a double elimination bracket from the top 32 all the way to the top 8, which will be, of course, the quarterfinalists that will be playing tomorrow, which then moves back to a single elimination format.
Yeah, so it's like single elimination, double, single elimination, and most importantly, the top 16 is getting valuable World Tour points, which will come in handy to play either the mid-season invitationals, which will be quite hard in the EU region, even though 4 teams are taking part of that one, or even, 4 teams, right? 4 or 5? 4, I think.
4, I think.
It might be 4 teams, yeah, and also for the World Cup at the end of the year, if you get World Tour points, you can also qualify towards that. That will be very important to nail. So if we take a look onto the ranking, we see that 92 players, divide that by 2. We have 46 teams that have inscribed to the tournament. And the first play phase will be the play-ins, which will be played in a single elimination bracket.
Well, actually, we do have a little bit of a correction stance from one of the admins, apparently. With 32 teams based off of matchmaking playing in the regionals, since there are 46 teams, then the cutoff principle for top 32 applies. So there's no play-in, and we're going to be heading straight into top 32 then.
Okay, so there's no play-in then. I mean, that makes it a bit more easier, because then we can just follow the format of the first regionals. That is very easy. So if you just go on Wikipedia, that's your best source for information, actually. They can see how the tournament has been going on. So we have upper bracket round 1, round 2, round 3, and then qualified. If you just play all matches, you have to play 3 matches on your first day, and then you qualified for the next day. If you win all matches, of course. And then lower bracket takes a bit longer, to be honest, because there's also 4 rounds, but of course you already played a match beforehand. So we are playing 5 matches. According, you're going out on the first round into the lower bracket, right? So that is one thing to mention. Prize pool is again €450 for the top 4, 175 for first position, then 125 for second, and 75 for third and fourth place. So 4 rounds will be played today and 4 tomorrow, so that's also smooth sailing. So we're also gonna make it to Trackmania, to the Trackmania Challenger League, because both of us will be casting that one as well.
Indeed, yeah, and a pretty interesting day of Challenger League up ahead.
Yeah.
That will be getting way further ahead with, well, some pretty interesting matchups. XLT versus Ascent, for instance, the opening matchup. Then we have Easy Dream. Well, with 1 win for the season so far, but they have maybe a bit of renewed confidence despite their loss that they've incurred right after that first win. But they'll be playing against BS Plus, which have had a pretty strong season, all things considered, especially when you compare that to stage number 1. But all of that, of course, and more to follow in the Challenger League at starting from 5 p.m. Central European Summertime, of course, here on the Trackmania channel. Of course, on the other channels such as myself and Turbo's channels, where we do cast the Challenger League for a couple of the teams, as we are about to get stuck into our match. Which match did you end up picking?
I just joined server 9. Like, I think it's a good one, and we also have Stufz and Wizzy here, who got quite far in the first regionals. So we're just gonna join that one. The first play, or the first day, will be played in a best of 5. So there will be, well, never mind. So it will be 5 maps that we played instead of 7, and first to 3 map wins is gonna win. So I just joined this server. We can get a Gamba now, because now we know the match. So Stufz and Wizzy versus Idolus and Lefay. So actually not a bad match. I've seen both of Idolus and Lefay in the being very active in the British and Irish Trackmania community, and also in those tournaments. So looking forward to see that match, actually. So I think it will not be a good match to start off all things.
Yeah, I mean, it should be pretty good. In the meantime, we have the pick and ban phase with okay, so red team, that being Good Focus. So Good Focus banned first. They banned Breaking. Then XLT banned Sinuous. Then Grip was picked by XLT. Frosty picked by Good Focus. Then Vortex. Then Airwalk. Then on to the last salvo of bans. Pool has been banned, and then it looks as though Speed has been banned. So the decider will be Control. There you have it. The map order in this particular instance: Grip, Frosty, Vortex, Airwalk, and Control.
Yeah, well said, actually. And also in the pick and bans, you have that difference that you pick 4 maps, and then you pick or ban another 2 maps, and then the last map will randomize out of the other last 2 maps. So there you go. I'm hyped for this match. I kind of picked a good match there, to be honest. I'm like, I just picked server 9, right?
I mean, sometimes you just get luck of the draw, and you get a pretty solid opener. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, same. I hope also that sound and everything is fine, guys. That you hear Geek, and that you also hear me accordingly. If there's anything going on, make sure to just say it in the chat. You know, just scream again, like we did in the cast as well, when there was a good time or something like that. But let's enjoy the EU regionals. It is the second time that we're seeing the regionals. Very important World Tour points on the line. 7 for the winners, 5 for second, and then 3 for third and fourth. And also a prize pool that is worth to mention. €450 for a tournament like that is definitely not too little.
Yeah, definitely not too little. But yeah, the World Tour points are going to be very important, because yeah, we're more thinking about the long game. I mean, we're also thinking about the potential spot in promotion/relegation for the Trackmania Challenger League, although this time it will work a little bit different than it did during stage 1, where the World Cup performances will be taken into account. But also that ties into our next thing. The points are going to be going towards spots into the World Championship wildcard qualifier days. And yeah, this is very much important, not only for the EU region, but also for pretty much every other region under the sun. So because this will be their opportunity to kind of show their prowess to the world, and why not build themselves a spot in the main event alongside the big boys that are going to be taking part in the World Championship later on in the year. In the meantime, we're already getting started with round number 1. We already have someone from Good Focus in the form of Idolus having made a little bit of a clip, and you can see see Wizzy and Stuffs already taking a pretty strong command just ahead of Liffey, who continues to hold his ground 4/10 down on the leading duo from Team Blue, as we're going to be heading into the underwater section here, the little footbath, as I like to call it in French sometimes, because it is very, very shallow water.
True.
But yeah, no really any trouble navigating through there, although it seems Stuffs is having a few connection issues. Oh, that is so unfortunate.
Was even a crash.
And he drops back down.
Oh, Idolus.
Oh, it was even a crash. Oh, Idolus. Stuffs narrowly avoiding falling off the map, so Wizzy will be taking the win individually. Liffey should be finishing in second position, and Stuffs will be able to snatch a victory away from the jaws of, not defeat, but from a draw, thanks to Idoless's unfortunate fall to the bottom of the map, and Stuffs narrowly suffered the same fate right there, though. So a few sweat drops here and there, I gotta say.
So just when you were talking about, you know, good performance and no mistakes, and Idolus is just behind, LFA is behind, you know, everyone was just falling apart with Wizzy with a mistake and not with a network issue there. But Wizzy did the mistake. So it is Stuffs who's playing with the world record holder on this map. Wizzy set 19 days ago, 52.67 is the world record. And also Stuffs comes in on third position, just behind Matus, but now Stuffs hugs the wall, but doesn't get punished for that for now. Recovers it nicely with a no-slide there, and still gets a lot of speed over the footpath here, and is Wizzy and Stuffs still in the lead. But Idolus is not too far behind. Never mind, he lost quite a lot of time over that freewheel section, so he's additional 0.7 of a second behind, and Stuffs and Wizzy can secure that ace. That looks good. Be patient with that identity, and Wizzy will finish. What time will it be? A 0.07. So only 0.4 away from the world record. Good time from the UK prodigy.
Good time indeed. And yeah, there were a couple of contributing factors to that ace, with Good Focus having had a bit of a torrid time in the dirt part at the end of sector number 2, just before the little footbath section. And yeah, I saw a little bit further down Liffey having a little bit of a wonky entry, which sent him all the way towards the outside wall. And yeah, that pretty much just compounded the result that ended up going towards their way. Liffey, unfortunately, having a little bit of a slow entry into the plastic part, but also Idolus having completely missed, I'm guessing he might have missed the ring CP, so he's been forced to respawn. 5 seconds down on the leading duo of Wizzy and Stuffs, with Wizzy, the Englishman, getting a pretty solid
Wait, he skipped the free wheel.
Wait, what?
He skipped the free wheel.
I thought he actually clipped it. Wow, that man.
No way.
The luck, ain't no way, man. The luck of this guy.
That's wicked.
That's actually pretty wicked, but that you must thank his lucky stars that it did happen. So Wizzy again with another 0.0, driving very rapidly whilst we were kind of like making fun of that situation that Stuffs got in. But yeah, Stuffs finishing in P3, thus ensuring another victory for the XLTB team, the 7-2 for Team Blue, who are already on map point number 1.
Yeah, map point number 1. This could be over very fast because we only play up until 5. Or we only play 5 maps, so 3 map wins. But yeah, what a wicked trick there. Quite lucky that he also didn't get free wheel. The camera just swapped to me there. But look at that now. Lefay with a mistake. 4 seconds behind already. Idolus not opting for the best line. And this could be over unless Stuffs or Wizzy make a mistake here on that last section of the map. Of course, the map has gotten significantly shorter, 52 seconds in length. Or even like a 52.6 in length if you do world record, so that is quite short compared to the other version. But Wizzy and Stuffs, let's see if they can take it home or not, and then to already win map number 1. The Exalted B squad looked very promising in the first regionals as well, and they will just secure the win here. Wizzy on first, and Stuff just behind it. Wizzy with a sub 53, yes, 52.9, very good time, and they show that they have what it takes to take it home. Also, I think Wizzy was in the Cup of the Day final yesterday, where he lost against Link, his Exalted teammate. So a little bit of a fun fact there.
Or maybe Wizzy being a little bit of a good Samaritan. Who knows? Who knows what might have been going on there. But yeah, 10-2, so map 1 will go the way of XLTB. Then we go on to our next map, Frosty, which also has quite a few modifications compared to its Challenger League / Grand League counterparts, such as the plastic part with the ring reset that is usually commonplace in Grand League. That ring reset is gone, and that section is a whole lot easier to navigate. That is one of the few changes that are kind of noticeable on this map, and also the identity being, of course, a bit shorter, being short by one entire, well, I guess we can call it a half-pipe, even though there's not really any kind of airtime. But yeah, just one ice half-pipe section is completely truncated to make way for a faster finish line.
Yeah, so well said there. To be honest, I've not seen this map in a single match so far. For me, it's the new gyroscope. In TMCL, I've not casted it. I think it was there already, but I wasn't there to cast the match. So looking forward to see it here in the Challenger League, as we see Wizzy already with a good start. As you said, there's no steer section there. Wizzy opts for that very risky approach there, going to the first taste of the identity here. Those wicked this wicked 360 into a nice reactor boost ice slide. But Wizzy got his steering in locked there, but still is 2 seconds out of his teammate. Lefay and Idolus are 3 and 4 seconds behind respectively. And let's see what they're doing in this last part, which has been slightly modified as well, as you can see there. But they can just cruise into the ending, skip the cruise control here, of course, get a smooth landing in there, then slide with a freewheel block, which can be quite awkward to do. But if you just train the map, you will figure it out eventually, and then do one last identity, and you finish with a 103.70. World record is a 0.23 by Nako, so only 0.5 off. Both players showing good pace here, especially Wizzy in that first round on Frosty.
Yeah, Wizzy looking very, very, very solid, and that nice time from Wizzy has been acknowledged by a couple of the players on the in-game chat, so there is a fair bit of respect to what Wizzy has just pulled off during that opening round. And yeah, a solid ace to open things off for Exalti here on that second map. And yeah, this is not looking too good for good focus, as it seems as though, oh, I thought there was actually going to be a slide out for Liffy. I thought someone clipped a little bit, but everybody manages to make it through unscathed, albeit heavily separated, with Idolus 6/10 down on the leading duo of Wizzy and Stux, who are just keeping tabs on each other. Wizzy getting a little bit of a touch of the CP there, so it's going to allow the Dutch driver to move up into the lead. But look at the ice slide from Wizzy, though, recouping all that lost time and then some, retaking the lead over Stufs. And in the meantime, they're just leaving Idolus and Liffy for dead on the racetrack. Over a second of a difference between the top two and the bottom two, as we're making our way towards the identity right now. Everybody making through the cruise control section, then the freewheel getting a little bit of a tighter line with the drift over the quarter pipe, and then the spinalla section, as I like to call it. One spin to pull off, which is already pretty difficult to pull off in itself. But then on the next actual Grand League map, it's even more difficult because you have to pull it off a second time. And the exit from the first one really conditions how you have to actually safe it. So there's plenty of opportunity for passing there.
Yeah, I mean, ice is really hard to control, and if you just have to, like, just do a 360 with your car, it will be harder to estimate with every 360 that you have to do. So, you know, it seems like, okay, you only have to do one less of that, but it's actually significantly easier due to that. And you've also seen 104 winning times. That's also enough. As Lefay and Idolus, let's actually follow them in this round. Going for the save approach. Stufts with a mistake, though. Hits the pole there. And he gets overtaken. Might be a good POV to follow, because look at the eyesight here. Slides out a bit. Idolus with airtime. Stufts will have a lot of exit speed, but doesn't get it correct and hits the lamp there. So that is another mistake from the Dutch player. But he is not that far behind, though. Lefay still holding strong on that second place. And Wizzy is long gone, 1 second ahead. But look at the drift from Stufts. He can maybe secure the victory for his team. Or maybe even the ace if Lefay doesn't survive the identity. But so far, it looks good. A good approach from him. And he will get second place. Stufts on that third position. But look at that time as well. Wizzy, 103.67. Only 0.4 away from the world record. Very good time and the victory. And that is a dominant performance from Wizzy on this map. Very good time yet again.
Yeah, very good time, and also solid damage limitation from Stufts as well. After a pretty rocky round, all things considered, with a first sector that did not go his way at all, no matter how hard he tried, with that little clip just before the drop down from the plastic, compounding every single block behind it afterwards. He had to really pull out all the stops in the last few sectors in order to catch back up to Idolus, but he managed to do so, securing third place again. He pulls up the exact same thing, touches the side of the pole on the right-hand side, and that means that he's going to be downgraded to fourth place. Idolus, though, does not get the best of entries into that little ice slide there, so that promotes automatically Stufts up into third place, and that may very well be map 2 done and dusted, as we are currently sitting in a victory scenario, which would be enough for Exalti to get the map in their hands with a 10-2 score. Wizzy 6/10 ahead
Made a mistake,
Irishman
unfortunately.
Lefay making a mistake, it seems as though.
Yeah, he lost half a second, so he was even 1 second ahead. And also look at that. Stufz now overtaking Lefay, can maybe overtake him for the ace, and that is not enough. But still, the victory after 4 rounds for Exalti. Very good performance, but also Lefay, not with a worse round here. I mean, this map is so hard to do. So that is it. Exalti B wins map number 2 as well.
Exalti B winning map number 2, and yeah, you're right to point out Lefay. He held his own pretty well, even though there's not really much that you can do against a Wizzy, which is looking to be pretty strong right out of the gates here in this second European regional of the state. As we're moving on to map number 3, we're back on an Exalti pick, it seems like, as we're going to be moving on to Vortex.
Oh yeah, Vortex, one of my favorite maps from this World Tour season, I would say, because we also have two different versions of that. So this is the easier version that will be played in the regionals and also in matchmaking, of course. And then you have the hard versions, which are exclusive to TMGL and TMCL. All right, so welcome on this map is by Matus, by the Ferox player, who we might see today as well, but definitely tomorrow. I think that they're gonna make it into the semifinals again, if they're of course playing. But I assumed so, and it's a 103.764 as the world record. And look at that low jump here. That is similar or the same as on the hard version. Stufz does it very nicely, and also Wizzy is behind only 0.2 of a second. Lefay and Idolus hand in hand on 3rd and 4th position, now going for the backside. Both of the Exalti B players going for it, and you see how much you can gain with it if you execute it correctly. Stufz and Wizzy with a lot of speed over the freewheel, but Wizzy had to oversteer on that freewheel section there as well, and it is Lefay coming a bit closer, but it's still not over here. For good focus, they can still snipe someone in that identity, which the entry has gotten a bit easier here with that jump, and also yeah, just with that, the entry into the drift is a bit easier. And of course, we only have 2 spinning blocks instead of 3, and then the ending is the same. And we see both players from Good Focus making a mistake, and it is Stufz and Wizzy securing the ace on Vortex, so that already looks really good and shows where they've gone towards State 2 on that first regionals.
Yeah, 104.313, a mere 0.6 away from the current record from Matus as well. So all things considered, not bad times to be driving on the opening round there on Vortex. Unfortunately for Wizzy, he was forced to release to avoid having a head-on collision with the CP. Did not really help matters all that much, as he will be dropping a second as a result of that little correction affair that he had to perform. Which means that Idolus and Lefay will be potentially in a spot to grab 1 point up until this point of the map, where Lefay had a little bit of a back tap with the right rear on the dirt. Stufz in the meantime going for the buck slide over the wall. He's just going to be sailing away. Look at this. He's pulled a 4/10 additional gap compared to Idolus. He's a second ahead of his nearest competitor. Wizzy in the meantime got past Lefay, and he's about to pass by Idolus as well over on the pipe, not quite making the move stick. He's going to make it stick right before the jump right there, and thus we're back onto a status quo in terms of the ace for Exalti, with Stufz and Wizzy in that order, albeit separated by 1.6 seconds. As we're moving on to the identity, watch out Mr. Wizzy not to go too far off the deep end, and he's going to make it through nice and clean, and it's going to be a 104.124.
Good time.
Driven by Stufz as well. Very, very good time indeed. 0.4 away from the current record, and Exalti 6 points ahead of Good Focus, and more than halfway there to bag their first win of the day. Yeah,
that looks really, really dominant from Exalti here on Vortex. That small blunder of a start from Wizzy. Now again, we see him on last position. Had to release, but this time he was committing and clipped. So he's behind. Also Stufz there with a mistake. So Lefay and Idolus are coming a bit closer, but still it's an open round here for everyone. And Stufz and Wizzy going for that outside approach. That just gives you a lot of speed. And also the bug state here, which is quite hard to do. The setup can be done wrong. And also the exit out of it, as you see Wizzy instantly going for the safe way, but he doesn't get it. So actually that shows how much practice he has on this map, because he knows where the safe way is and all of that. So good map knowledge from Wizzy there. But I think that he will not play a role here, and that we're gonna see our first draw of this series, because Lefay and Idolus are on 2nd and 3rd position. Idolus with a mistake goes for the respawn even, and not sure if this will be enough though to stay ahead of Wizzy if he doesn't survive the identity yet again. So let's focus on him and see if the UK player can make it happen or not. Good approach here for the first one.
Stuff's full stop picked at the finish.
Did he hit the finish?
Apparently he full stop picked at the finish, and that allowed Leafy to actually win the round.
It's a victory.
Less than third. It's a victory for Good
God,
Focus.
what?
Yeah, I was as surprised as any. I thought he would have basically just stopped as BM after crossing the line, but no, he stopped right before it.
Interesting. I thought that he would have it. That's why I already swapped to a Good Focus player there. So it is what it is. And let's see what the next one has to offer. Do we see another 4-round end here on Vortex, or will Wizzy and Stuffs, who just drove inside of each other, go to a next round and give Good Focus the chance of maybe winning this map, but Idolus is already quite far behind.
Yeah, Idolus looking pretty far behind after a failed transfer right after the first section of the track, and Stuffs and Wizzy are just looking to sail away into the distance. Liffy cannot really do anything else but just watch as these two become smaller and smaller dots on his screen, as yeah, he's already 1.5 seconds down on Stuffs, currently leading the charge with a 3/10 buffer over his teammate Wizzy, who's continuing to keep tabs on him, going hand in hand towards the finish line, with the Identity coming up now with the first moving block negotiated nice and easy, and the second moving block also negotiated pretty cleanly, and that means it will be a clean 4-round Delio and a clean sweep with a 10-2 victory for ExaltTV, and a 103.857 as well from Stuffs. An incredible time being driven. Remember, this is the first match of the day, and we're already dipping pretty close into like the top times from leaderboards anyway. And so ExaltTV with a clean sweep over Good Focus, 3-0 to kick us off.
Yeah, that was only 0.1 away from the world record. So still a good performance from Good Focus, from Idolus and Lefay. I think they don't have to hide. They have a great development ahead of them if they just continue to play. The pace was missing, of course, but Exalti, you know, they are the favorites to even win this whole thing, in my opinion. If they somewhat make it to the final, they can definitely beat a team in a best of 7. So that was match number 1. We already are in the play-ins, so for everyone who's asking in the chat, so the top 32 has already been determined due to the rules that 46 teams have inscribed. So the bottom 14 teams unfortunately couldn't play. If there were 48 teams, we would have had another play-in round. So we are already in the top 32. All right, so I think there are still some matches ongoing. But it's always a bit hectic to see what matches still go ongoing, because there are 16 matches played at the same time. So I think we're just gonna go into a small break, unless we get it done like that. No, I think we go on a small break then, right? For like 5 minutes.
Yep.
And then we figure out what match we're gonna be casting afterwards. You know, Hamster, Lucker's Turbo. I got my wisdom teeth removed, teeth on the left side removed yesterday. And Geek, we'll see you in a bit.
All right.
Okay, we're gonna do that then. So, we are back then. We are back then already, guys. What a sudden introduction, but we clearly cannot miss out on this match. We literally spectated the match that was the shortest. And we have Homonosun, or also have Homonosun, versus a Spanish team. Right now it's overtime. If Homonosun wins, dude, I imagine they win now and we just go live, but then we're just gonna talk a bit and, you know, give you a bit of a TLDR. Also, what will be happening and all of that. But look at that round here, Geek.
Man, 10-10. We're already into our first overtime of the day, I think, in the European regionals. And yeah, you can see CA and Greif are actually looking to hold their own versus the Homonosun guys. And even Nick Solby having a little bit of a feel of the strain right there.
Oh my god.
This could potentially net us a game 5 unless Jolly has something to say about Greif's lead right now as he makes the move for the lead against the Spaniard. Man, Dragonite looking very, very strong right now. Everybody clearing the cruise control block. CA getting a little bit left behind. Nick Solby trying to take his opportunity to strike. This might be an early end with Greif also looking slow in the identity bonking as well. Oh, that's so unfortunate. You gotta give it up to Dragonite though, because they were trying their best to actually hold their own, and they've held their own. They took a map against Nick Solby and Jean-René, which is already pretty much a feat in itself, but then they went toe-to-toe for the whole map. There was nothing but draws once we were actually spectating there, so yeah. Kudos to Dragonite there.
Yeah, great performance from them, and let's see what other matches ongoing. Let's not get anything to waste here. Round 1 play. And there's still 2 more matches ongoing. Okay, we can't just go order by order there. So let's see the other match that is still ongoing. We are on a match point situation. Need for Speed versus SRAC. Demo and Ultarion versus Ploms and Rhetoric. So Need for Speed in need of an ace or a victory here. They play Sinuous. It is track number 3 actually, so they might have started a bit later, or maybe there were a lot of draws, could also have been the case. So for the next ones we're gonna do it like that, but you guys also have to bear with us. It's the first time that we're casting the first day of the regionals, and we're trying our best to make it happen.
Yeah, indeed. Unfortunately, it looks like it might be an early end to that match with Need for Speed's members, Ultarion and Demotivator, unfortunately crumbling right before the entrance into the tube, which isn't even the end of the first sector here on this map. So, Rhetoric and Ploms looking to be set for a staggering win with an 11-4 score on that third map and a 3-0 clean sweep going to their way. 55.391 the end results at the end for Rhetoric. For instance, for a reference, the world record is a 54.311 courtesy of Kabi. So there we go. Well,
5th map, Airwalk.
Oh.
E-Line Red versus 201 STM alters. Jolty Sonic and Nautm. What the hell?
Yeah,
Jolty Sonic. How long haven't I seen that name?
Yeah, that's a name I haven't heard from
Canyon my
days.
god.
Jesus.
So there you go, that's also a match that happens. I mean, E-Line Red, you know, Dampuleto and Speed Self. Speed Self, such a great guy. And we see the Turbo players rising up here. We play Airwalk as the last map. And for the next rounds, we're gonna do it like that we're just gonna follow the action and see how it's going on. And that is also a good match, you geek. I mean, let's see who takes it. Speed Self, oh, the best start. Puleto also clipping. Look at that, now TM and also Jolty Sonic in the lead. So they can make it happen here by the looks of it, because only Speed Self is there.
Speed Self was looking very, very shoddy. Like, he didn't see it on camera, but he tried to go super inside on that double right-hander, and he narrowly clipped on the first apex. So it could have been very catastrophic there for the Frenchman from E-Line Red. But yeah, nothing that they can do about Jolty Sonic. And now, of course, Jolty Sonic, Turbo player, one guy that I remember from the Canyon days. And yeah, looking to be pretty solid along with his teammate now on this simplified version of Airwalk, where you actually just remove the poles in the middle of the map on that penultimate bumper section. And then the last bumper, just try to spring yourself up into the finish line. But it's easy to miss a bumper. We've seen it before in the other regionals a little bit earlier on today. Now, and Jolty Sonic finishing 2/10 apart in first and second, and the Spaniards have taken hold 6-2. And I just want to mention, like, we briefly spectated Jolty Sonic a little bit. I want to mention. I want to give like a prize of honor for that livery that he's running, the skin that he's running, because we're not heading too far away from the Centennial Le Mans 24 Hours, and that is quite fitting,
True.
I must say.
And also the skin looks really, really refreshing. Has that summer vibe, you know, the coloring is very cool. And most importantly, the 201 STM holders are in the lead by now 6-2. You know, the Spaniards are taking over, guys. What is going on? Like, firstly they've beaten the other French team, and now they're doing the same thing to Eline Red. What is going on here? I mean, it's double elimination, right? But still, they're setting a statement.
This is a pretty good surge from a country that has been present, that has been somewhat present on the competitive scene before. Of course, that we'll be speaking to some of the names that have been earlier on in the scene, such as Javi Flyer, of course, one of the strongest players of its day, and one of those that could really truly take a fight to Carl Jr. Unfortunately, we seem to have lost Tmwt in the process, and Jolty Sonic has been forced to relinquish second place to Speed Self after that little bit of a blunder at the finish line. But yeah, it's still very much a victory for the 201 STM holders, continuing to press on their advantage. 8-3 match points for them. And yeah, Bresta, I kind of agree. The skin that Jolty Sonic has should have come with a full rotor sound. Like, I cannot accept any other answer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really into the motorsport that much, but I know what you mean. It was always cool to have those custom car sounds also in Trackmania Nations, if you remember that.
Yeah, well, Jolty Sonic unfortunately messed up the alignment, kind of like Speed Self narrowly avoided during the previous rounds, but he went a little bit too far to the inside, tried to set himself up with a double right, and had basically the right rear dunking clip. Speed Self clipping a little bit. Ooh, yeah, he's looking a little bit hairy, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, even a victory against them, against the 201 STM holders, will be good for them, because then they get one more point, and of course you need to exceed or hit the 10-point threshold in order to win a map, and now it's just gonna deny points towards Eline Red. I mean, they would be up to 4 points, but they need to get 2 aces in a row. Oh my god, that is a very rocky ending, and Jolty Sonic overtakes. Speed Self, failing the identity. I forgot it's airwalk, and well, the Spaniards knock Tmwt and Speed Self down into the loser bracket.
Yeah, they're gonna have a little bit more of a torrid time now. Speed Self and Tmwt. The Joker has been already used. There's not really anything left to kind of like save them from any premature elimination. Now they have to be on top as soon as they can to be able to retain their spot into that second regional of the season. But yeah, I mean, we've had some pretty interesting curveballs being thrown over the course of the last few matches that we've seen a little bit towards the end of that first round. I mean, dumb luck for us. We casted the shortest match, as you helpfully pointed out, with XLTB completely trouncing good focus. But that means we get a bit earlier into the not quite the dessert, but we're not that far off from basically having some pretty sick matchups. Because if you look at the Liquipedia,
BPP versus Ferox.
Yeah, exactly. We're already having a rematch from the last final in round 2. Like, what is this?
Yeah, BPP versus Ferox here, Paco. And wait, I always confuse them. Wait, give me a second. I have to think about it. Who was the teammate? Not Lego, right? Or was it Lego?
It is Lego.
Yeah, I always confuse those. All the Frenchies like Lego, Tricky, Snow Glass. I always confuse them, and I don't know why. But I then have to think for a second about it. So they will play against
Ferox. So
against Ferox, yeah, Melio and Matus. That will be a great match. So I think we could spectate that and then just hop around. But then you can also see the level. I'm not sure if you guys want that or not. That sounds to be a good idea. Okay, the codecast is to silence. Then I'm just gonna lower myself, and then it should be fine. Can you quickly talk? Test 1 2 1 2. Tom?
Okay, test 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, it should be fine now. So I just gonna lower myself because it's hard to. Oh wait, I can just up your volume on Discord. I forgot.
I mean, whichever way works.
Well, you're 200%.
We're already.
He's at 200%, guys. That's why I couldn't upper him. But let's just do it like that.
Yeah, let's just do that. The thing is, I can't exactly crank on my sound interface either. Otherwise, I would just end up clipping the whole time. So
don't worry. Now we have it. I just lower myself, and then we are in a balance. But guys, I hope you're doing good today. We have 4 or 3 more matches coming up today. The winner upper bracket round 2 we're gonna focus on, and then of course loser bracket round 1. We're also gonna see what team will say bye-bye on 25th, 32nd position. But I think for that we still have to wait a little bit up until the matches are live. But I just hope that you guys enjoy your weekend. We also have another regional going on that also you are taking over, right?
Yeah, that is true. We also, like this weekend, of course, being that the regionals are somewhat joined together, we also have the Asia Pacific regional that actually took place a little bit earlier on today with its first day. And yeah, we already know the names of the semi-finalists that will be taking part in day 2 tomorrow, starting at 8 a.m. Central European Summertime. First semi-final will be Antec Esports versus Ferox Industry APAC, it must be said. Ferox competing with their APAC.
We can already join the server, by the way.
Oh, okay. So are we going for
yeah,
the,
we go BPP
rematch?
Ferox. Yeah, guys.
Okay, we go rematch.
We
Let's
have
go.
to see the final. We have to see it, right? But I mean, there's a lot of Trackmania action going on, like the regionals that you talked about, the Asia Pacific region, also a highly underrated region, to be honest. And then we also have TMCL at 17, which we are both are casting. On the main channel here, you're gonna see our fellow colleagues, probably Twiggy and also Nua Lake again. I assume so. That will take over the cast. We are casting on our channels. But enough of plugging here. The match will start in 1 minute and 30. And that is cool to see that we see a match like that in the second round of the winner bracket, isn't it?
Yeah, this is not exactly quite the gauntlet. I mean, it's very early on to kind of like talk about a gauntlet match, but still, it is looking a very, very good to be able to kind of like have an early rematch and get already two teams already early on going at it at each other, which is going to be pretty exciting. So yeah, just to kind of like finish on the impact thing. So yeah, with the semifinals, so we have Antec Esports versus Ferox APAC. So Planetary and Svede for Ferox playing versus Skuda and Spark, who are playing their first tournament under the Antec Esports colors. So that's something very important to note. And then on the second semifinal, it will be Trident Esports, the winners from the last regional. So J-Swag and Baywag playing against Restless, the runners-up from the last regional, being Red Bolt and Winky Face. So only one of these two will be able to retaliate and try to claim the crown, but that will be, of course, tomorrow morning towards 8 a.m. CEST.
So you can watch that just before the E regionals, before we're gonna take over, I think on your channel, right? And also on the Trackmania channel, if I recall.
There will be the Trackmania channel. I am casting in French on my channel.
Yeah.
I figured it would be cool to do so.
Yes.
Just like because I do have some history with that region casting in French, especially
That's
with
nice.
the Asia Oceania Trackmania Championship. That was a completely voluntary call, like a benevolent call of me to do so. But yeah, it was very exciting to do so, as we're already getting started with the picks and bans. So higher C will be for Legu and Paco because of their win last time around. So first ban was for Melio Matus, Frosty ban followed by Speed. Then Airwalk will be our first map, followed by Pool as our second map. Then third map pick will be Control by the BPP team. Then Grip will be taken by Melio and Matus. We're already moving on to our second salvo of bans now, with our first man being Vortex. Now, Breaking Sinuous for Off-Road, which will be the last ban, and which will be the randomized
Sinuous
map
probably
pick.
ban, and Off-Road will be in.
Oh, okay. Oh, actually,
other way
complete
around.
flip. Complete flip. What a curveball being thrown. Off-road being banned, and so Sinuous will be the decider. Airwalk, Pool, Control, Grip, and Sinuous is your map order for our second best of 5 today.
Yeah, and it's a very exciting match, guys. This was the final from the last regionals. So it will be a rematch, and whoever makes it now into the next round, they have a shorter day ahead of themselves and don't need to go into the loser bracket. So just keep that in mind. If you go into the loser bracket, you have to play 3 additional matches. Or like, you have to play loser bracket round 2, 3, and 4. Then you qualify, have a lower seed as well, play a stronger team. And then if you qualify, or if you go into the upper bracket, you only have to play 1 more match after that one. So a 2-match advantage plus the upper seed is on the line here for the teams. Because both teams have what it takes to beat all teams here in this bracket.
Yeah, they're the true strong favorites for this particular regional, and they're probably the ones that people have the eyes set on the most, especially considering I feel like the strength. I don't know if it's kind of correct in saying that, but it feels like the strength of field has somewhat gone down compared to what we had in the first regional because of various other events that popped up, obviously. But yeah, this is probably a prime opportunity for both of these teams to capitalize on that, to continue pounding on the points earning machine and get themselves pretty solid, pretty heavily consolidated space in the top of the leaderboard for the EU region and towards the top of the GPR rankings to get better spots for either like get a better chance for like challenger promotion / relegation with the World Tour, and also for the championship wildcards that are going to be happening fairly soon.
In September, I think.
Yeah, in September. Well, I say soon. Well, soon TM, of course. that being the autumn. In the meantime, we're already getting started with our first
Paco
map.
not starting though.
Paco not starting. It seems as though, yep, there is a little bit of waiting time.
Yeah, we have a waiting section. So Lego not continuing to play. Matuza and Melio just racing right now, but I think there are some issues that are occurring, so we're gonna wait. And they had problem with map picks. Okay, Snow gives us the inside there. Thank you very much. Always good to have that. So we still have some pause going on up until we're gonna start. So maybe this will not be the first match that is going to end, right? Surely not.
Surely.
I hope so.
Surely we're gonna get a bit more mileage out of it.
Yeah. But yeah, Airwalk, for me, also a very cool map. In general, the more I cast those maps, the more I like them. At the start, I was like, oh, they are really hard, but they're really fun to watch. Probably not to play. I mean, in matchmaking, the maps were all over the place, some of them. But Airwalk in particular felt very cool to play up until the Identity, which sometimes can be a bit hard to nail.
Yeah, Identity can be a little bit of a faff in terms of being able to nail. And we've seen plenty of people across all ranks, not just in regionals, but also in Grand League, to actually go a little bit too low or a bit too far and completely miss the bumper outright. And that respawn is punishing, because with the bumper you get at least 2 or 3 seconds of airtime before you get to the second bumper. So it is going to be very, very important to nail that down. I mean, players have done a pretty good job at being fairly consistent, but we're not safe from seeing some of the some heartbreak with that Identity as well, be it on the easy map or on the regular map that we see in Grand League, of course.
Yeah, I mean, there's some more tricks to it. And we go for the pick and ban again because apparently BPP wanted to ban Sinuous. So that's what I said beforehand. So the curveball could still be going my way, right?
Yeah, that is true indeed. So Airwalk, full control grip, there we go. Then we go into the second salvo bans, Vortex being banned.
And it's off-road even.
And it's off-road, okay. There you go. There you go.
I told you.
Okay.
So there you go. So those are the pick and bans now. So only off-road has been changed to Sinuous, or like Sinuous has changed to off-road. And maybe we're not gonna see off-road though, but I think we could see it. Every team has what it takes to win their pick.
To be fair, I think we could have a real possibility of seeing off-road. I'm feeling like we could see Game 5, realistically.
I think so as well. So guys, put some hype into the chat. We're gonna start with this match. It is winner bracket round 2, not the grand final just yet. BPP versus Ferrex Industries. That gives us a very good taste of what will happen tomorrow as well in the top 8 single elimination that we also gonna be casting here on the Trackmania channel, starting at 1 p.m. CEST.
Indeed. So Legu and Paco versus Melio and Matuz. Melio and Matuz, of course, one of the more awarded to duos in the Trackmania World Tour so far, with 2 regional wins, both occurring in stage 1, regional number 2 and number 3, if I recall correctly, with the first one being of course won by Team SN back then. But yeah, Melio and Matuz are now more hungry than ever for more points and for victory in the regional, which has been eluding them for a little bit. And yeah, this is looking to be pretty interesting, facing off against the reigning champs, I gotta say, from the regionals with Paco and Matuz. Paco, I mean, that first win was a long time coming. I mean, we've seen the performances that he was able to put on along with Heath as part of Team Glorious, and it was about time that the Hungarian player was due to pick up his first win. And yeah, I guess it must have been a pretty good story for Paco, as well as for Legu, for winning on the first appearance, if I recall, of Team BPP on the World Tour circuit at large. So this is going to be very, very interesting to see if they are able to carry the momentum forward for today as we're moving on to our first round of hostilities already.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go with the first round. I mean, Lego also has been around for so long. Paco kind of popped off in this game and is also very, very fast on Track of the Days, on Cup of the Days, and also on everything that you can imagine. Very fast play and has shown insane pace on that first play day. I just reckon one map that he played really good on, it was... what was the name again? I forgot. I think it was Sinuous, where he was really good on. He played very, very well on this map. Just drove just close to well. They could pace every round, and they didn't even pick it. And right now, he's also leading here in this round. Lego is on third position right now, gets overtaken by Melio, gets a good line. It is Lego with a good landing though. Let's take a look onto the identity though. Melio gets it quite well. Lego had to release to get it quite accordingly, but he has to respawn. What about Matus? Matus survives. Melio had to respawn as well. Lego is ahead, so it will be the victory for Team BPP because 2 respawns have happened and Lego pulled the trigger a bit faster.
Yeah, Lego managing to make it pretty nicely. 55.820 to kick things off here. 6/10 away from the current record held by Wizzy with a .209. So yeah, Paco managing to be solid and anchor sort of to speak the victory for the duo of Legu and Paco. And unfortunately, it seems as though we've seen Matus hit the top of the CP already at the jump in the plastic. So end of the first sector, he will be 1 second down on the leading trio. Legu lifting a little bit earlier to get earlier ground contact and thus better acceleration through the double right, keeping tabs with Melio, going toe-to-toe with him for second position. Paco also continuing to hold the lead for now, although the gap is not as wide as it was during the first round, with Paco still being chased down quite heavily by both Legu and Melio. Less than a 10 between first and third. Matus way out of it to be having any kind of impact. Paco with a very, very aggressive entry. Melio barely brushing the wall. He will barely clip over the bumpers that could have been so catastrophic for Melio, but that will gift the ace on the silver plate for Legu and Paco, with Team BPP winning the second round in a row with a time of 55.821. Hey, really consistent so far over the course of 2 rounds, just 1/10 apart for these for the two round winning times. But yeah, Legu and Paco continuing to press on their advantage, 5-1.
Yeah, 5-1. Very, very good section here from them on those first 2 maps. I mean, it's also their pick, right? Because they've won the regionals last 3 weeks ago, let's say like that. You know, it's their pick, so it would be good if they also win their pick and not already fall behind. But right now, Melio and Matus are in the lead. Matus with a release to get more speed. But look at the line from Paco here, from 4th to 1st in just 2 turns. Insanely done here by the Hungarian player. And he just excels himself up, but doesn't get a slide there, gets a no slide. But also Matus clips the inside. So 2 mistakes have already happened here. Legu and Melio now leading the round, but Melio also on a good time. It could be the next sub 56 time here in this round. Legu not slowing down, the Melio with a good landing, but also Legu has it quite well. Important to get that 5th gear there on that uphill section and hold it throughout the turn. And, well, it is Melio with a good release timing, but has to release a bit more. Legu misses the finish and doesn't finish the round, and it will be the ace for Ferox due to that, because also Paco is 0.2 behind. And there you can see this ending is quite deceiving because it's different compared to the harder map. The ring finish can be quite hard to aim for.
Yeah, we've seen plenty of people actually breaking their teeth on there, and that allowed Ferox to get the immediate counter ace to prevent BPP from running away in terms of score. So right now, it's still all to play for on map number 1 with 5-4 right now for Team Blue. But as we see, the tide can turn so fast here on this map. Paco going a little bit wider than the rest of the field, and everybody continuing to be within a 10th to a 10th and a half from 1st to 4th position. Matus, Melio 1st and 2nd, with Paco and Legu in hot pursuit still. Matus trying to make a bit of a run for freedom up ahead, but cannot really seem to shake away the rest of the field from his heels as Legu tries to make the charge for the lead, manages to make it stick so far. Moving on to the penultimate bumper, and it's still toe-to-toe in the top 3. Paco just a little bit further behind as we're moving on to the final corner at the identity coming up right now. Legu, Melio, Matus, Paco in that order at the bumper. Legu with a tiny bit of an advantage. He's forced to release though to not go too far on the end.
Oh!
And it's going to be Paco full stopping in the finish. Matus also forced to respawn. And so it will be a 1-4. It will be a draw at the end of the round. Paco has not finished. He messes up again at the finish line, but it will not matter since Melio and Matus did finish second and third. And a 55.7 and a low 0.7 at that, being driven by Legu.
Yeah, what a close round that was here between the teams. It is a... was it? No, it wasn't a draw now. Ferox has won, right? If I recall it correctly, because Paco didn't... No, wait, Legu got first. Of course, Legu got first, and Melio and Matus were behind. So it was a draw. I had victory for Ferox in mind, and I thought it was 6-6, and now it was 6-5. So it can be quite confusing, because it was such a close race just before the identity here that was taking place. But we have another close race. Just when I thought about that, it is Melio making that mistake, as well as his teammate. So BPP having a tremendous advantage here in this round, and could secure an ace to come a significant step closer to win their pick airwalk, as they're going hand in hand into that very awkwardly placed drift, because you know, you think you can drift already there, but you have to wait a little bit, and it is not the perfect alignment there. But look at that, Paco clips the inside, and Melio overtakes the Hungarian. Melio with a good approach, but Paco this time also survives it, but it's not enough to overtake. Lego wins the round, still BPP with a victory in this round. It's 8-6, so Ferox in need of at least 2 victories now to force the overtime.
Yeah, indeed, it can also force an overtime. BPP just 2 points away from getting that first map in the books, as we're moving on to our 6th round here on Airwalk. End of Sector 1, it will be Legu. Oh, barely clipping just at the edge of the corner, though. That's such a shame to have a slowdown right before the bumper as well. So that's going to be compounding that speed loss all the way through the double right-hander as well. And so he's already 1.6 seconds down on his teammate, who's right there to pick up the slack and try to prevent basically a counter ace from Melio and Matus. Matus trying to get back up the order and trying to mount a charge against Paco, but Paco continues to hold a pretty solid buffer of a 10th up to a 10th and a half through the last few corners. As we're moving on to the identity now, he must avoid the clip on the inside. This time goes for a little bit of a wider approach, a bit safer. Now the bumper, here we go. Will he be able to make it through the finish line unscathed? Look at Melio, he's going to be forced to respawn, and that's going to be Paco winning the round with a 56.1. I think that's our first round being driven into the 56 range so far, and also a victory with Melio conceding 3rd place to Legu, and so that will mean a 10-7 score, enabling BPP to take the first map of the series.
Yeah, also their pick, so they have won that 10-7, and that gives us just a good understanding how close this match will be. Now we go into pool. Pool, for me, one of the more interesting maps of this map pack, because the identity is mirrored. And for me, it caught me off guard so much when I played this map for the first time, because it was, don't I have to go to the right? It's to the left there. Or it's just a complete different entry. World record is by Paco at 54.02, set 4 days ago. We can see the whole top 3 just set in the last 4 days, which is insane. Sturz and Wizzy on 2nd and 3rd position. And let us see who wins this pick. BPP also doesn't look that bad here. Matus and Melio on 5th and 8th records. Well, let's see who wins the first round. It is the pick from Ferox, so they definitely have prepared something on this map, else they would have not picked this map against the world record holder, right? So let's go into the first round and see who goes into the lead, or maybe it will be a draw. Right now looks very close. Oh my god, Lego almost clipping the hole there, but it's Melio who is 0.16 behind.
Yeah, Melio having a little bit of a sluggish start compared to the rest of the people that are on the track. The slide cancel section being well negotiated, and the gap somewhat stabilizing to around 2 to 3 tenths of a second between the top 3 and Melio. Although in the top 3, the positions are continuing to be swapped between Matus and Paco, who are going to be going head-to-head into the identity right now. Melio trying to use his time to shine, does not get the best entry to the identity, so he's going to lose even more time. Paco versus Matus for the lead and the win for this round. It will be Paco winning with a .259. Matus second, and with Legu in 3rd position. That will guarantee the win for Team BPP, but a great race up front with just a 4 hundredths of a second margin between 1st and 2nd.
Also a good time, only 0.2 away from the world record. World record, of course, being done by Paco, the 0-2. Maybe gonna see a sub 54 time. That would be quite awesome to see in a live match. But I mean, if we can see that, probably in a match like this, or maybe in the final, because both teams know what's on the line. Maybe it's also an advantage for you to go into the lower bracket, because then you get some more practice in on those maps that you maybe have only practiced offline or in matchmaking, of course. But, you know, if you play those maps against Legu or Paco in matchmaking, it will be... I want to say it will be very hard, and then both just did a mistake. Come on.
You were saying.
Come on, Paco and Lego. What are you doing? It's not this time of the day again where I'm just jinxing everybody, you know? It is Matus and Melio off to a quite comfortable lead. Go for the slide there. Melio going super inside there, but survives it and drives a 0.5. Melio Matus winning the round and acing Team BPP.
Unfortunate stuff, very unfortunate stuff, and it's that slide cancel part with that double left-hander that goes downhill. It's not quite negative camber because like it's just a row going downhill and everything going flat, but like that transition from somewhat bank to flat with that very, very close outside wall, it has caught out so many players over the course of the last few weeks of competition in the Trackmania World Tour that it's always a bit painful because you feel like you've actually made it through pretty much unscathed, and then you realize that you're basically brushing with the right rear, and that's enough for the acceleration penalty to kick in, and there you go. You just end up losing at least a half a second in the whole thing, and you lose you can lose basically first to last, as we saw. It seems like Melio was close to disaster a little bit there as we're moving onto that set slide cancel section, and Melio forced to release a teensy tiny bit. He was so close to hitting the wall on the outside. He managed to keep it off the wall, but he still looks to be half a second down on the nearest player that he can attack, that being Paco, currently chasing down Matus for second position. Matus barely touching on the inside. Watch out, Mr. Matus, do not get too hot too fast. Legu continuing to lead. Matus trying to go for the lead on the inside. It's to the line. Legu will hold it up until the bitter end, with Matus not really making favors easy for himself, having gotten a little bit of airtime, it seems like,
and
after
slid, yeah,
bumping and jumping out of the water. So it will be a victory for Team BPP, who are going to be bridging the score a teensy tiny bit. Just a 1-point lead for Ferox now.
4-5. Again, such a close map going on. And we might see this match again in the finals. I don't think that those teams will meet in the loser bracket, or we could see it in the quarterfinal or something like that, because, you know, or in the semifinals, because they could be on the same side of the bracket. Because if one team drops down to the loser bracket, this could be the case. Melio again, not with a good line there, has to readjust a lot, and Pussy to Paco and Legu are in the lead. So the Hungarian player up into the lead. He even excels himself up into there. Look at that, leading 0.3 of a second. Legu not with the best line, but still stays up with Matus, so we could see an equalizing score. A 6-6 could happen if Paco just stays in front. Let's also see what Melio's identity looks like. He always goes very inside there and then goes for almost a drift. Doesn't get airtime this time around, but it's also Lego and Matus to the line, very close between them. But it's 6-6. Paco with a good time of 0.47. We have seen a 0.2 in the first round. Let's see what team will take the advantage. The match is getting heated up here, and who will go into the lead? We're gonna find out in round number 5.
Yeah, the match continuing to heat up nicely, because, I mean, that's what we kind of always expecting when we were actually seeing the lineups of the matches. And, yeah, so far it seems to be delivering on that promise as we're continuing to be playing fairly tight. Unfortunately for Legu, did not get the best exit from that long negative camber right-hander there just before the checkpoint clobbered the wall. So he will be leaving Paco to try and prevent Ferox from getting too much of an advantage, or even at the best case enforce a draw. But so far the Hungarian player continuing to hold his ground nicely here, 2/10 ahead of Matus. Melio just behind to try and make it a two-way fight for, well, a three-way fight for the lead if they are able to catch up to Paco. Paco getting reeled in at the beginning of the identity right there. So Melio and Matus can be in for striking, and Melio keeps it nice and planted on the ground.
Wow,
and that means it will be the victory and even the ace for Paco, Ferox, as Paco gets sniped even for second position by 16 thousandths of a second. That is a close race if I've ever seen one, and that is going to be a big sigh of relief for Ferox, because they finally have an opportunity to make a breakaway and try to finally win their map pick, because it was looking not quite compromised, but it was looking to be a bit on shaky ground.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, PvP was coming a significant amount closer after just equalizing the score 6-6. Now it's a nice lead that they have at 6-9, and also a good line there in the end from both Matus and Melio, just using everything that they have to maximize the speed outcome. And let's see if they can win their map pick. And then we only have 3 more maps left, and we might really go into off-road, the last map of the series, as Melio gets a good line. Legu made another mistake, and Paco, I mean, even a win doesn't help him. He needs his teammate on second position, and I think that's all she wrote on pool. Unless both Matus and Melio just make horrendous mistakes and lose 2 seconds, but I think they have it here. The identity is significantly easier. Also the slowdown there. Don't have to perform a Neo slide. And there you go. Matus even overtakes Paco there in the end. And there you go. It is a point 38. And the scoreline is a 7-11 in favor for Ferox. And they take home their map pick. It is victory for them. And we're gonna go to map number 3. So quite exciting match, even though it looked a bit shaky here on just the mid part of the match for Ferox, but they eventually took it home. And there you can see how powerful an ace really is. Let's go to control.
Yeah, moving on to control, and yeah, they were able to snatch that one at the last minute, because it was looking, as we said, it was looking a little bit to be shaky after, yeah, PvP was holding his own on, holding their own on a Ferox map pick. Now they're getting back into their wheelhouse with control being the map up next, and this one is one that hasn't been altered that much, in all things considered, compared to the Grand League part. Just maybe a little drop down that got easier, the snaking section that has been cut by half with the no break section, and also the strongest part being the identity, of course, with just one simple jump to negotiate before making it to the finish line. Well, I say simple, quote unquote. Everything is relative. You guys know that, right? So yeah, will be interesting to see how these teams will navigate that map, as we're already into round number 1. Matus, Paco, and Legu 1, 2, 3. Melio a little bit further behind, getting around the bubble in a bit of a different way. So far, around 3/10 down. That little bubble there is one of those not quite critical points, but it is one of the key factors to actually get a good round going, because you want to get as low airtime as possible and as smooth of a landing as possible. Otherwise, you're just having a bit of a bump and you completely lose your momentum, and that's it. Then the bobsleigh section, everybody negotiating it nice and easy with Paco and Matus going toe-to-toe for the lead of the race. Matus continuing to hold the lead right now. Look at this. Legu cannot really have anything to answer for that. Paco neither. So it will be the identity in a singular jump to the finish line. Paco going low to compensate, but it's not enough. It will be a 58.832 for Matus. Melio in P4. That means we will be starting with a draw. 0.832 for reference. The world record is on 0.035 by Huzo.
Yeah, shoutouts to Huzo here. Has improved quite a lot as well, the Turkish player. Love to see that, that he just performs that well, and I mean, also finds himself on that top of the leaderboard. So very cool map. I really like this one. Also the version of it, this no break section which got changed, and then also this drop down here after that part, which was quite hard to do. But then also, let's take a look onto Paco's line, because it is really important. This lineup is so important, how much you release and where you jump. Paco didn't get it too well, but the apex here is super important, because you want to have as much speed as possible to jump in there. And look at that, Paco had it beautifully, even though he didn't have the best approach. But you see every kilometer per hour matters there, and Legu made that first major mistake. It is Paco versus Matus in the lead. Will it be another draw? If Paco stays ahead, it most likely will be, but the identity is very deceiving. Paco with an insanely low jump, Matus with a better line. It's so close, but not enough, and it's another draw here, 2-2, and this map looks quite close, to be honest, after just seeing the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, it looks a bit closer than imagined at first, but yeah, we've seen mistakes on both camps, and even towards the same kind of area as well, with Legu and I think it was Melio who had some inconveniences at the boss leg section, which seems to be the main troublemaker here on this map, even though we do have that little bubble right there following along with Legu. As we see, yeah, he didn't get exactly the best line through it, because he did clear the bubble, so that means he got extra airtime. Even Melio got that, which means he will be dropping down 6/10, which is a big task to actually catch back up when you're so far down and there's less than half of the map left. In the meantime, Paco and Matuz first and second position solidly, but Matuz with much better speed from the exit was looking to put a move on Paco, but with that slide out, trying to go a little bit too sharply into the double right-hander, allows Legu to move up into second position rather, and that means Paco and Legu will finally get the ace that they've been chasing after so far in this round, on round number 3, with a 58.648 being driven by Paco. And yeah, Melio Matuz are just gonna have to tank this one for the team and try to bounce back ASAP, because they need to get the counter ace, otherwise BPP are just gonna be moving into scoring runaway.
Yeah, aces are just so powerful. They at least need to get a victory here in this round to just stay in close proximity. Even a draw would be okay, but they want to go up to 4 points themselves, because then with 2 aces they can close it out themselves here. But right now, a good round here from the players. This section really reminds me of an RPG section. You also described it very well beforehand. Really important to get as much speed as possible. You can go for a very inside line, but then of course you can clip there as well. Look at that, every player just within a couple of thousandths of a second. The release time very important. Lego so wide up. Melio sliding, so we'll have more speed, but travels more distance and jumps too low, so he makes that mistake. And Paco and Lego first and second position. Matuz on third place right now, so he has to get at least one person. It is Paco with a mistake, and let's just think about it. If Lego also fails the identity here, which will surely not happen. Surely it will not happen, because that was very clean. He drives at 0.4, but Matuz at least securing 1 point, but that's always already one nail to the coffin here. 7-3, Ferox at least in need of 1 ace.
Yeah, Ferox at least in need of 1 ace right now, because yeah, the gap is looking not quite dire, but it's looking pretty difficult to catch back up, because BPP are riding in their stride. And yeah, we've seen a 0.4 being driven in the previous round, with 2/10 just separating them from the top times. Unfortunately, we've lost one of the players from BPP, that being Legu, having touched the inside wall just before the bubble. He's going to have a tough task up ahead, because I was already close to a second down on the leader, and Paco even is not really that much in a situation to have an impact just yet, as Matuz is trying to make a run for freedom up ahead, and Melio is trying to follow suit. As we're moving on to the bobsleigh, everybody making it pretty cleanly through there, and yeah, Paco losing a lot of speed, hand over fist compared to Melio and Matuz, and even allows Legu to move up into third position. So the counter ace that was so needed by Matuz and Melio might very well come their way at the end of round number 5, as we're moving on to the final jump right there, and that's going to be a win for Matuz and Melio, with Legu trying to catch up to Melio at the end, but Melio stands his ground, 0.728, and we're back to just a single point deficit for Ferox between themselves and BPP.
Seems Ferox Industries are close to an undertaker here, as they are not getting taken down on this map just yet. It is 7-6, only 1 point of a difference, but of course this 1 point is huge in that case, because if BPP gets an ace now, they will just close out this map. But Matuz with a good start. Paco with the best of them. Melio comes in there as well, so we could go into a 9-7 and a final round situation if Matuz and Melio get another round. So another good start here. Lego also now in the mix, who has made a lot of mistakes in the past in the start, and now Paco clips there, has no speed here to work with just before that part, but Matuz jumping too low there and makes that mistake, and it could be BBP even after a wonky start section from them, capitalizing from that, as Melio has to win that round to force a tie. Could be a 9-7 in favor for BPP here themselves. But we've seen Ferox acing them, but they need to do it again. So BPP only 1 point away, even though it was such a sluggish start here from BPP in that round. Matuz and Melio looked so strong, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't meant to be here for Ferox in this round.
Yeah, it just wasn't meant to be there indeed, and now they have their backs against the wall. They have to deliver an ace whatsoever. They cannot let any points slip up in favor of Team BPP if they want to get the lead for the first time in the proceedings here on that best of 5 series. Matuz Melio have got it all to do now with that particular scenario. Not exactly the best to be really around, as we're moving on to midway through the 7th round right now, with Melio trying to make a push right now, trying to push away from the rest of the crowd, with Paco and Legu regrouped in 2nd and 3rd place. Matuz in P4. It's not enough. Matuz needs to move up to 2nd place if he wants to keep the dream alive for Ferox. Melio going so high, he's gonna have trouble at the exit. He manages to make it through. Paco and Legu both crashing at the same place. That means both Matuz Matus and Melio will be leading by 3/10 from Paco. Now, is there going to be a salvatory mistake for BPP? I don't think so.
Oh my
and that
God.
is going to be rescued from the jaws of victory for BPP on losing their own map pick to Ferox on a 10-9. And thus, Melio and Matus take the lead in the best of 5 series.
What a round that was here. Both Lego and Paco crashing in that very hard section, but also the risk there. I think that was Melio jumping, like his car was tilting so much and he just got so much speed out of that. That was great. So Ferox showing that what they have up in their sleeves, and they are going into the lead, winning the BPP map pick. And now we're gonna go to Grip, which could be the last map already of the series because it is the pick by Ferox.
It is a Ferox pick, but I don't know. Maybe we could see BPP try to turn the tide in their favor, and then moving on to make it onto Off-Road, which is our 5th game, remember, with the decider map. So
yeah,
it has to be witnessed and monitored how BPP are going to retaliate after losing by a very narrow margin. 1 point is one of the narrowest margins that you can get in Trackmania esports, and yeah, this is always a bit of a sting whenever that happens to you, but then the important thing is how you handle that and how you actually carry forward into the rest of the series. Paco having a solid start so far midway through the map with Matus and Melio in hot pursuit 2nd and 3rd. Legu also trying to make a move maybe for one of the key positions with Melio now a threat and moving down into 4th position. Legu continuing to try and press on and try to make a challenge for 2nd place versus Matus, but Matus is also right there, right up against Paco for the lead of the race. This could be a little bit more tense at the finish line than people would have anticipated. And those two are neck and neck to the line. Here we go. Can Paco go for a bit of an Ferox with a 52.924 as my internet has decided to cut off for 5 seconds at the worst possible time. But yeah, it is going to be the victory for Ferox.
Yeah, it was the victory for Ferox there. You could have seen it quite nicely. Good fight there as well in the identity, but it wasn't enough here for BBP to take it home. And I mean, that gives us a tendency how Ferox is performing on this map, but Matus with the first mistake. So now Legu and Paco can get that ace here, or even tie up the, or at least can tie up the score, because Paco right now in the lead here. Good line from the Hungarian player. Melio is on the 2nd position. Now we go into the water section, which has been has been adjusted a bit. Can still bounce out of that one. We have seen that cut from Stuft there beforehand in that first in the top 32 round. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but you know, it is possible. Yeah, it's still possible to bounce out of there. But let's take a look into the identity. Melio falling off there. Legu and Paco can save it. Do they know it? Legu was a bit too close for comfort there, but it's still the ace for BBP, and they indeed go into the lead. It is 4-2.
Man, the car, you could just see the car just lurking over the edge, like, that does seem comfortable down there. But then it was like, no, please just keep just work with me and don't hit the pole either, thanks. But yeah, an immediate counter ace for BPP to get themselves back on the right track. As yeah, 4-2 right now, 2 points of an advantage over Ferox, and yeah, Ferox not having the best of rounds in the previous incarnation, have they? With Melio falling off the map, Matus also having made a mistake early on, but this time it will be a brand new outcome that will be played out right here with Melio and Matus this time looking fairly solid and just a 1 looking first and last through the plastic. We go a little bit lower than Paco, thus getting early ground contact and better acceleration, allowing him to get a few thousandths of a second ahead of Paco, but Paco retaliates immediately, going through the dirt as we're moving on to the bouncing section. But look at the line from Paco, going wide on the entry and then trying to go for as late of an apex as he can through the footbath. And yeah, it does work for Paco, but it's still super close indeed, with Paco still being harassed by Melio. Matus in P3, Legu in P4. Can Melio try to bomb and
God,
yes, Paco
Matus
has lost a lot. Oh, Paco, that was such a...
Oh my God.
He tried to open up the corner a little bit wider, but that ended up costing him both positions. And now Ferox are back in charge with a 1 point lead.
Wow, what an ending here from Ferox, just sniping away Lego there, eating him alive there. And also Paco didn't look that good there. So Ferox up into the lead again. What a great round that was for Ferox, and also very important to bounce back from that ace that they've received beforehand. Now Melio jumping off there with the reactor boost and losing a lot of time. Matus also with a mistake. So Paco and Legu are looking really strong to get an ace there. Melio not too far behind though. Even though he got some airtime there, usually you lose a bit more because you have to oversteer and don't have a lot of speed. But Melio just fighting back nicely there. But I don't think that he has more speed in this section as Paco is leading by 0.15 of a second here, give or take. And I think BPP can just bounce back from that. They just have to survive the identity here one more time. And there you go. Lego wins the round here with a 53.2. World record on this web is a 52.6 by Wizzy. We have also seen 52 times from Team ExaltTB, so they would have probably beaten both teams on this map, but they also look very strong here with first and third record here respectively. But track point for BBP. Will we go to map number 5, or will Ferox Industry be able to get themselves another ace or at least a victory in this round?
Yeah, right now BPP looking to be a bit of a fight back, although Legri does make the first mistake of the round, having been very slow before the reactor boost sparks. Also, Paco to pick up slack. 1.8 seconds of a conceded for Lego, but Melio has also had a little bit of a problem with that jump after the plastic part, so Lego will try to take advantage of that to move into third place, but Matus now is going to be locked in a battle with Paco for the lead through the footbath section, moving on to the identity now with Matus and Paco. Still going to head. Who's going to get the speedier identity?
Oh, Lego falling off.
Look at Paco. And yeah, Lego appears to have fallen off, and so that will promote Melio up into third place. Paco versus Matus, and Matus will win ahead of Paco, so it will be the victory, though Paco was right there to try and reclaim that first place. 98 thousandths of a second at the finish line. Very, very close. And for Ferox, it's not quite ace or bust because there's not really a loss on the line, but yeah, this is their chance to conclude the map.
Yeah, they have to take it home, and then they win this match and go into the winner bracket, and BBP drops down. Legu misses out on the checkpoint, or touched. I think a respawn cost you like 4 seconds. So now it is Paco who has to win that round here, or at least get second position. Matus and Melio are not slowing down though. Look at that. It is looking very close still, but Paco leading the round. Melio clipping there and losing a bit of time just before that free wheel section there. Paco going very wide. Matus with a very good line. Look at that. Paco with a better approach there in this section, going to the identity for maybe the last time here on this map. If Ferox gets first and second, the last identity look good, but Melio with a mistake, and only Paco has to save it here to at least get himself 1 point here. He has a bit more speed. Is it enough? It is 23 thousandths of a second, as you would say, to the line. But it is a victory for Ferox, and it's 9-9. Little overtime.
Yeah, we're getting closer to that overtime. I feel like we could very well see it even before Game 5. As we're moving on to round number 7, it's all to play for here, and BPP are just hanging on for dear life at this point on this particular map from Ferox. As we're moving on to round number 7, Legu currently at the tail end of the field, but not that far off. 1/10 of a second between first and last, and it's going to be his teammate Paco taking the lead immediately and trying to pull away from Melio and Matus right now, toe-to-toe in second and third position. Legu trying to catch back up to the all-French duo up ahead. Moving on to the footbath section right here, very shallow waters, as Paco doesn't go as wide as he used to in the previous rounds, goes for a bit more of a all-rounder approach, but still continues to lead by about a quarter of a second versus Matus and Melio. Matus going a little bit lower than he expected it to, as we're moving on with the final part of the identity and the finish line. Paco will win ahead of Melio. Matus in third. Legu tried as best as he could to snipe out Matus. 0.7 for Paco. Very nice time, but it will be overtime.
Overtime, ladies and gentlemen. Very important map to win for both teams. Track versus match point. Again, if you go into the upper bracket, you only have one more match to play if you win that. And lower bracket, of course, then we play a double elimination bracket right now. Gives you the lower seed, of course, 5th to 8th seed. So you play against the teams that have not lost on day number 1 in the second elimination bracket tomorrow. And you also have to play 2 additional matches. So it could also result in a very, very spicy quarterfinal where those teams could theoretically meet up again. It all depends where they drop down and where they, where they win and lose and stuff like that. But let's go ahead and see what will happen in this round. Matus and Melio want to close it out already here. Paco is pushing it. He has nothing to lose. Let's follow the Hungarian player here. First identity being done. Paco with the low speed, but goes super wide there. Still is in the mix though, but it's still super close. Paco with a good line. Paco gets sniped. Is it enough? Paco Paco saves the day. Oh my god. What was that identity from the Hungarian player? Securing another draw, and we are not done here just yet. We go into round number 9.
Having the perfect final corner as well. Managed to open it up just enough and then try to tuck back into the right-hander just at the perfect timing to get the perfect lead angle and the perfect speed into there to snipe both Melio and Matus in one fell swoop. What a finish from Paco. As we're moving on to round number 9, we could get into the double-digit rounds at that rate, as we're seeing Paco taking the lead already, with Legu this time being toe-to-toe with Melio and Matus for second position. Through the dirt we go, with Paco having a 10th of a lead over the top 2 fights. Moving on to the footbath section with the very shallow water now, with Paco this time going very wide as he used to before. The line has really worked well for him, and it works well once again for this round, but it's all about Legu now, and it seems that the Melio has slowed down dramatically just before the identity. Matus in 3rd place is surrounded. That might be game number 5 going to our way right now. Paco continuing, Matus falling off the map, and it will be BPP taking map 4 with a .844 for Paco. Another very respectable time, but what a thrilling finish to game number 4. And that means we're moving on to off-road after that stunning win, 14-11 for BPP.
Yeah, what a great performance there, especially from Paco. Just, they were on live support. And now we go to the last map. So both teams actually were able to win the opponent's map pick. So just keep that in mind. And we indeed go to off-road. The last map here, it is a best of 5 and not a best of 7. We have best of 7s again on day number 2. Then we go into single elimination again. So let's go off-road. Very cool map. The identity has been shortened a bit on this version, and also some other sections have been adjusted accordingly. But not too much on this version, I would say. Can only think about some poles being removed, and not too much other stuff.
That's actually one of the first times that I'm seeing the map, so it will be very interesting to see what is actually really the changes beyond the identity that I kind of like seen already. But yeah, let's see how this goes on round number 1 then for the decider game. Like, we're going so close to the edge of the reset block there, so it could have been very, very costly. Here, no retaining walls on the left-hand side, so that's one key change that I can notice. Paco this time leading through the first sector, with Legu overtaking both Melio and Matus for second position. Moving on to the jump into the triangle line through the checkpoint, nice and easy. Melio now coming back in and not having the best of entry, immediately respawning as well. That's going to be costing very, very dearly for Melio, as we're moving on to the plastic part, and then the section through the trees right there with that double banked grass part. And yeah, all things considered, not that many changes on this identity compared to the on this map compared to the Grand League map, of course, being the identity just one more jump, and that is it. A 55.751 for Paco. Legu finishing 2/10 behind, meaning that it will be an ace to kick things up for BPP. And yeah, the main change aside from the identity, as I pointed out, was the lack of the outside retaining wall just at the end of the first sector on the grass hill. That was something that is very, very tricky to navigate around in the hard maps. It kind of like is reminiscent to like the construction work that happened in Spa-Francorchamps, where they had an outside retaining wall at the fastest corner and most dangerous corner in the world before they removed the barriers, which opened up the corner a little bit more. That's kind of like the vibe that I'm getting there.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really say too much about that because I'm not a racing, sport racing enthusiast, so maybe the others will agree with that, probably. But let's go into the next one. BPP starting off strong here. Ferox again. I mean, also, I think in the last match it was like that, where those teams have met up. Ferox looked very strong, but then when it mattered, they just didn't perform, and now Melio off to a dreadful start, finding himself on his back on there, but Matus is there to save the day right now in the lead. And there's not too much of track left there for the players, so Matus will just take it easy here, and only a very, very smooth turn into the identity, and Matus will take it. Legu on second, Paco on third, and a 55.8 is enough, and it's a draw, but BBP is still capitalizing from that because they have gotten that ace in the round beforehand.
Yeah, although I must say, Paco actually full stop picked just before taking the penultimate checkpoint on the identity. He full stop picked it to the neon sign. Those deco blocks are quite strong. As we're moving on to round number 3, then BPP continuing to lead by 3 points ahead of Ferox as we are moving through this dirt section, taking a little bit of penalty sand through there. Paco currently sitting at the back end of the field, but right within the grasp of the rest of the battle up ahead, with Melio Matus trying to conjure up a counter ace as quickly as they can muster, because right now the time is starting to run out right now for Melio and Matus. They cannot really let BPP leading them around by the nose like this, as Legu just goes for the standard line. Melio going too low and clipping head on and having a little bit of the wind knocked out of him, I'm imagining there, for the virtual driver. Paco and Matus going head to head for the lead. Legu a bit further down just can focus on safing that 3rd place, because he knows that he has quite the buffer to Melio down in last place, 6 seconds behind. Paco continuing to lead and thus taking the individual win just ahead of Matus with a .511 driven by the Hungarian. Good time. Legu will secure the victory half a second down. So yeah, good time and very good round for Team Blue, who continue to widen the advantage. 4 points now, 6-2.
6-2. They only need to get 2 more victories to take it home, and Ferox is now in need of at least 1 ace to come back. Or I mean, theoretically, if they get 4 victories, yes, it would also be overtime, but more practical speaking, I think they need an ace, because I don't think that we're gonna see 4 victories in a row from Ferox Industries. Theoretically, it's possible, but look, Matus already with a mistake. Thank you so much for that. This will not happen. No, jokes aside, of course, I want to have an exciting match, and let's see what will happen here. If Melio can make that jump across now, yes, he can. Gets it very nicely. Paco on 2nd position. Lego with a very wide eyesight will not have the best exit there, and also Melio didn't get it too well, so Paco in the lead. BPP on their way to book their ticket to the 3rd round of the winner bracket. It is Melio, however, not slowing down. Goes for a drift, for a better alignment there. Has a bit more speed than Paco, but it will not be enough to overtake. And it's another victory for BPP. 55.39. Only 0.3 away from the world record there. Good time from the Hungarian player. And it's 8-3. Ferox in need of a miracle, but they can do it here eventually. They have shown it already.
Yeah, they've shown it, but right now, there's one saying, and it finally is coming up now. It's ace or bust for Ferox. They need to get back-to-back aces and quick, although that will not likely happen because Matus completely flunked it right out of the gates at the start of the round. So it's all up to Melio to keep the dream alive and try to keep Legu at bay for the benefit of the lead, but Legu is not giving up so easily, and he's going to make the move stick down the inside of Melio to move up into the lead just before the bridge section. Melio now has to try and fight back as soon as possible. He cannot let Legu go away in free reign as we're moving on to the ice slide. Legu going a little bit wider, trying to get a little bit better exit speed, but Melio gets a much better line. Now that means they are going neck and neck for the lead of the race. Paco, a bit of an independent adjudicator in 3rd position. Legu continuing to try and fight off for the lead. Melio still there. They're neck and neck, moving on to the identity. Melio overtaking Legu just before the finish line, and Ferox stays alive for just 1 more round with that heroic display of driving from Melio, going right up until the bitter end against Legu and managing to hold his own right at the line. Wow.
Yeah, what a great race that was, and now it's ace or bust ×2. Ferox needs to make it happen, but it seems that always one player has fallen behind. But now's the time to shine, and they know that, and I think that's the storyline that we're focusing on here. Maybe BPP versus Ferox, they could meet up again. And I think they will meet up again, maybe even in the finals, because those teams just look on another level. But right now, Paco is also on another level on this map. Melio also with a very good start. Matus, 0.15 behind. Every player still alive in this round. Melio with a good line here as well. Legu on 3rd position. Matus with a good eyesight approach. Goes super inside. Melio has a good exit there. Also, Matus catches it off the booster. But there's still Paco who's in there. Matus clips the inside, and that is it. That is all she wrote here for Ferox. So close, but yet so far. But they will eventually not take it. Matus with a mistake. Melio will win that round here, but it doesn't matter. Actually gets overtaken there by Paco in the end with a 0.35. Very, very good time. And BBP moves on. Ferox down to the loser bracket.
Indeed, and it seems as though, I don't know, I'm kind of like pronouncing myself a little bit early, but it seems like Ferox kind of ran out of stamina towards the end there, because they had a sudden regain after taking the map pick from BPP. PvP on map 3, but then when they came to Grip, they started to kind of like feeling the strain a little bit. There was some troubles trying to conclude some of the matches and so on and so forth, and that's ultimately what cost them stamina, which is one of the other key things that you need to kind of like survive the World Tour and on one of the regionals, especially with the level that we have here. But yeah, I'm also on board with you. I feel like we're going to be seeing those two teams again. Why not in the final? Because I feel like these two are going to be having some history, and especially Ferox are going to be wanting to be going for revenge after what happened 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, and also after winning 2 regionals in Season 1, right? They are now in there to they have gotten second, I think, in the other regional, or at least top 4. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That I think they lost the final against Ascent in regional number 1 of stage 1.
So they got first, and second. And now, of course, you know, we have Ascent in TMCL, so you can see how good the level is. And also Ascent, for me, not playing a bad season in TMCL, but that's another topic, of course. But guys, from the shortest match of this play day to the longest match, so maybe next time we're gonna find a more average match, but good that we picked that one, and it was that exciting. It went to a 5-rounder or to a 5-mapper, and we're still waiting for the matches to start here for the third rounds.
For the third round.
We are now in the top 24 already, right?
Yeah, indeed. And may I point, can I actually just riff through the upper bracket matchups that we have? So there are 4 matchups in the upper bracket. We have Utopia Esports, so that's Sam and the Darkwix versus the main Project Conquerors lineup. So that would be Ixawe and Rocket. Yeah, indeed, Ixawe and Rocket. Then we've got BPP playing versus Team Alkia, so that's Ryu Hacks and 7. Then XLTB playing versus Team Rex, so that will be Omega and Dionysos. And then Lille TLB, so that will be Naiko and Again, if I recall correctly. I think that's it. I think I'm right in saying that. Playing versus Gravity versus Cross Shift, which is going to be Jan and Marsley.
Ah, okay, they're also playing in there. So then we also have Betatos playing. I was on a server there beforehand. So not all the Spanish teams made into the upper bracket round 3.
By the way, it's Naiko and Luzix, not Naiko and Again. Just a quick correction there for a little TLB.
So whoever wins those matches that you just read out have qualified for day 2. So we have 2 more matches that we're gonna be covering today, the upper bracket round 3, and also there are the loser bracket round 2s that will be happening now. We have already seen loser bracket round 1 taking place simultaneously to upper bracket round 2. You can also see that on the Liquipedia. I think that's better to follow there. But we're now the top 24, and after that one, we will be in the top 16. So that will also be a good cutoff for the World Tour points, because the top 16 will get 1 World Tour point guaranteed. And yeah, well, what match should we cast now? Any idea?
Well, this is a bit of a pickle, because there are also maybe a few matchups that could be interesting in the lower part of the bracket, such as Evo White versus 201 STM holders. So now in Jolty Sonic versus the Evo White lineup, that being Nitrofaint and Scarperp. But also, like, the team that we were briefly showcasing on stream a little bit earlier on, Dragonite, they are facing off Ferox, of all people. So it might be a bit of an uphill battle for them, but given the sort of show of performances that we've been seeing behind the scenes and on stream, I don't know. It could be interesting.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, we have seen Ferox already. Ferox is in the lower bracket. They're the second best team. I mean, we can let chat decide. Also, Molotov game would be cool to watch. Gravity Red versus Need for Speed would also be a cool match to watch. We could watch upper bracket. Maybe Evo versus 201 might be the best match to watch here.
I was just going off on the riff because I was seeing the lower bracket match, but yeah, I feel like upper bracket is also a pretty solid shout, because yeah, there are some pretty exciting matchups, like Sam the Darkwix versus Ixawe Rocket. This could be pretty interesting as well.
Yeah.
For instance.
But I mean, lower bracket could be cool. Because we're gonna see like a lot of good matches. I mean, on the one hand, we only see a more upper bracket match, and then we have the lower bracket matches afterwards. Which is quite a baffle. But I think chat wants to see Evo versus 201. So let's just go for that one. Chat wants it, chat gets it.
Okay, Evo versus 201.
That's server 11. I think it's pending. So, okay, we can join now.
I'm able to join you.
Yeah, so we're gonna go for that one.
Yeah, everyone's on the server as well.
Okay, so I'm quickly gonna take over the prediction. Let me quickly do that. Maybe you can talk a bit.
I mean, yeah, so, like, I don't know. Like, we were talking about it a little bit earlier on. Well, in the pre-stream, but I hope you guys don't. I hope you guys are enjoying the show, first of all, and are enjoying the cast. It's always a pleasure to be able to cast with Kai again. And yeah, it's if it feels like I sound a little bit not so much hands-on, it's because I haven't been that much hands-on in the last few weeks and months. I've been busy on my own with real life and so on and so forth.
Same.
So not really that much time to dedicate to Trackmania.
Dude, look at my cheek.
Also, said again.
Guys, do you see my cheek? Actually, do you see the difference left and right?
Yeah, yeah. You look a little bit asymmetrical. It is kind of true. You look a little bit more. You look a little bit more stock on the left-hand side compared to the right.
Was in a fight with a dentist yesterday, but yeah, the pick and ban is already starting. We see Sinuous as pick number 1. Interesting.
Oh, okay.
Then Grip, Airwalk, and let's see what map number 4 is as we go into that one here as well. But I think this will be a very good match. So we have Tm, I think. And Jolty Sonic?
Jolty Sonic versus Scarperp and Nitro Feint.
And
we have the second pick from Evo White, that being Vortex. Okay, now we're just waiting for the second salvo bans. In the first salvo, Speed and Pool were banned. Now we're seeing Frosty being banned, just Control, Braking, and Off-Road left for the banning. And that means it will be Off-Road being banned. Control will be our decider. So, map order, Sinuous, Grip, Vortex, Airwalk, and Control.
Yeah, and also a quick emphasis here on the Spanish scene. We have already talked about that one beforehand, but you know, it was a bit of radio silence. We have seen 1 or 2 players that were coming into play from Spain. There was one player who played a couple of days that I always funnily called the budget heavy flyer.
Loco, right?
Not Loco Colorado, which is Matt's in-game login in Nations.
Loco GZ. I think
Loco.
That was his in-game nickname. Yeah, Loco.
Yeah, so he was one of the only few Spanish players in there. Of course, Jolty's around for a long time already, and I'm looking forward to see how this scene will establish, because there was quite of a hype in Spain with Trackmania, and I think it's a region that is coming. Like, we've seen they've beaten Speedstuff and Puleto, like, damn.
Yeah, that was a bit of a it's a surprising outcome. Not to quite say a shocker, but because Jolty Sonic is and now are 2 very respectable players in their own right. But yeah, I didn't exactly see them making it that way easily through to round number to the lower bracket. Then, so we are moving on to the start of the match with Sinuous being our first map pick, and yeah, this is going to be very interesting. A map that is somewhat heavily truncated, one of the more heavily truncated maps compared to the rest of the easy map packs. Still has a few quirks like the little airtime over the plastic there, the somewhat convex, not quite toilet bowl, but half a toilet bowl kind of thing, where you have to dive very, very late and try to get a pretty tangential line through there. And yeah, also one ice spin that has been taken out in terms of the modifications, but it still also retains the tube, one of the very few full speed parts that we'll get to see so far in the World Tour. And here we go then with the full speed with Jolty Sonic, as we see the entry into set 2, switching over to the onboard camera before moving back into that, and then full speed all the way through. Yeah, a little bit of a touch from Jolty Sonic, so he's going to drop a lot of time. That means now he's left all on his own to try and hold the fort for 201 STM holders versus Scarperp and Nitro Feint, as we're moving through the ice slide right now, and now continuing to do a pretty solid job up front, continuing to manage a gap of around 0.4 of a second to half a second through the second high-speed part with that a wall right beginning that sort of then fades out into a flat road, and then the identity, and that's going to be a bonk right out of the gates from now. That's such a shame. That could have been a draw to salvage at least a point from that, but unfortunately it wasn't meant to be, with Scarperp and Nitro Feint inheriting first and second position, meaning that Evo White start off with an ace.
Yeah, it wasn't meant to be. And also, for everyone who doesn't know what an STM is, might be something that we should explain, because in Trackmania Turbo, which was a game that has been released on console and on PC, in 2016, I suppose. Was it 16?
Yeah, 2016.
Yeah, 2016.
It was announced
7 years ago.
It was announced in 2015. Yeah, 7 years ago. Yeah, we're old.
Yeah, so pro players set times on those 200 campaign maps, and Jolty Sonic, I think, is one of the players who has beaten all of them, if I recall it correctly.
Yeah, I think.
Or like almost all of them. Maybe chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like an achievement. Like joining the STM Villa is not an easy task. But yeah, it's one of the biggest achievements in Trackmania when it comes to solo achievements, because it's a game where the solo mode is very important, or like a lot of fun. It's the best game, the best solo mode in that game. But right now, this skill is not really transferring, as Evo White is getting another chunk of points, 2 points to their name. Now with a stunt there, Jolty Sonic getting second, so at least 1 point for the Spanish team.
Yeah, at least 1 point getting salvaged, but yeah, so far the momentum lying squarely with Evo White, despite, I mean, Jolty Sonic are just having to tweak a few things right here if they want to actually get back the points that they've lost, but I feel like they will be able to pull it off in the this round. If not this round, then maybe the next round. I feel like these two guys have what it takes to really recorrect their trajectory and get back on track to actually have a fight with the Evo White duo, as yeah, you can see now going very, very wide, and then try to get as direct of a line through the right-hander as possible just before the before the booster and the tube section, and that means he's able to take the lead. And Scarper now going toe-to-toe along with Nitrofane versus Jolty Sonic for second position. Scarper going a little bit tighter against the checkpoint, but Jolty Sonic going for a bit more speed. Did not exactly pay off with that wide line. Goes a bit wider than he would have liked to, I think, through the ice slide. Scarper managing to overtake both now and Jolty Sonic all at once through that ice corner, and that means, oh, now going too low and flipping off of the map, and that means it will be another victory for Evo White, continuing to widen the gap, 7-2 for the all-French duo, and already the first map point of the match.
Yeah, going quite fast here after just 3 rounds. They have secured 7 points. The 201 SDM holders need to get some more points, get that ace in this round here to stay alive. So let's see what they can do. It is track points. Nitrofane and the Scarab can make it happen. Let's see if they can do it or not. Good to start here from No in the lead right now. Then we have the sus trigram here from Scarab. So that is not too... That is quite sus, quite a Mogus, right? Goes for the S4D, gets it quite nicely. 520 speed is really good there, what I figured out. But no, it's long gone here. Jolty Sonic also off to a great start on 3rd position right now. Nitrofane has made a small mistake by the looks of it, but can bounce back. Loses the gear though. So he is dropping more and more behind, 1 second behind. Important to get that eyesight on the hard version. We have a 360 here on this map, which can be quite tricky to do. So this has been shortened here as we instantly go towards the ending section. No still leading. Scarab is behind. Jolty Sonic on 3rd position right now. Will this be the victory for the 201 SDM holders? Yes, it will be. A 55.12 is also a good time. Only 0.8 away from the world record. So they show a spark of, or this is a spark of hope for them to maybe even win this map.
Yeah, a flash of potential being shown there by now, but yeah, they need more than victories at this point, because look at the score from Evo White. They're getting dangerously close now to that first map being theirs. And remember, Sinuous was actually, I think, a map pick coming from the 201 STM holders. So this is going to be an early pace setter and momentum setter for the rest of their match, if they're able to reclaim all that lost gap and try to get that map win on their hands. So far in the round, now Nitrofane, Jolty Sonic in that order, 1, 2, 3, but the gaps are quite a bit closer compared to what they were in the previous round. Just 3/10 between 1st and 3rd right now, is Scarper being a little bit behind. Jolty Sonic, that's such a shame, and he gets the full stop pick into the tree, the Yep tree on top of that, which means now is all on his own to try and pick up the slack, but with him being demoted to 2nd position with that slow exit from the ice part, it will be the early GG on Sinuous, as Nitrofane and Scarper win it 10-5 with a 55.681 for Nitrofane. Yeah, just too many mistakes at too many points of the maps there for Jolty Sonic and Now, which ultimately cost them any chance of catching back the deficit that they had conceded and allow Evo to build up over them. So 1-0 in the series for Evo White. Yeah,
not even a single chance here for 201 SDM holders. Evo White just getting a lot of points out of that. Have we seen 5 victories here for Evo White? Might have been, right?
I think might have, well, they did have an ace.
Yeah, true. That was a victory for... yeah, well, never mind then. Then forget what I said.
There was a victory for the 201 STM holders, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a bit, and then an ace for Evo White. Okay, there you go. Yeah, the first round was an ace. But let's go to the next map. It is Grip. Also the easy version, of course. No hard maps in this map pack. Let's see what happens here. Will Evo White pull the trigger here and go into the lead 2-0. Oh, what will happen here? Nitro Feint and Scarab with a good start. But it seems that Jolty Sonic and No have something to say here as well. But No with not the best jump. Doesn't minimize airtime here accordingly. And it's Nitro Feint still in the mix, even though he didn't get the best trajectory around that reactor boost section there beforehand. The Spaniards are closing in, though. Jolty Sonic with a very aggressive inside line. And we see the Frenchman batting it out with him there in front. No, still on third position right now. It's a draw situation right now, and Nitro Feint with a mistake will make it even harder now for Evo White to make more than just that 1 point. As his teammate finishes on first with a 53.38. And we're seeing No and Jolty Sonic on second and third. Nitro Feint after that mistake on last. So it's a draw. Maybe a closer map that comes into play here.
Yeah, maybe a closer map. Maybe we'll get to see a bit more of an even playing field, or maybe we'll see we could see 201 STM holders getting a little bit of a favor with maybe some more mistakes from Evo White to kind of rebalance things a bit. But who knows? I mean, we're just gonna have to wait and see how this map shakes out as we're moving on to our second round already, following along with Now for Now currently sitting in the lead, battling versus Scarper by Nitro Found. Yeah, I just noticed that as well. And Now, unfortunately, is out of the running after clipping with the left front of the jump, so not exactly the best possible line to take. Then Scarper having a little bit of a turret time through the dirt, allowing Jolty Sonic to move up into second position. It's his teammate Nitro Feint currently holding the fort for Evo White, but Jolty Sonic trying to mount a challenge and try to take the fight to Nitro Feint for the lead. Nitro Feint's going to hit the pole and drop down to third position, but Jolty's going to hit the fast pole as well at the end of the first corner, so Scarper takes over the lead. Nitro Feint into second place. Jolty Sonic will hit, and that's going to give the ace to Evo White. That's was pain all around just to see that identity. Then Nitro Feint hitting the pole, then Jolty hitting the first pole, then towards the end, Jolty hitting the end of the second pole, the end of the second corner at the very last pole, thus completely tanking his speed, dropping down from second to fourth, and what could have been at least one salvage point turns into nothing.
Yeah, this is not Desert Jolty Sonic, right? Don't forget, you cannot two-reel that much. You know, in Desert it's actually pretty good, but also there the fastest strategy is to tap and thereby stay on 4 wheels. But you know, who even plays Trackmania United anymore? It's a very good game, but it is what it is. Scarperp in the lead as he finds himself quite convincingly in there. And Nitro Feint with a mistake, in another mistake, pulling a Granadi here, who's on 4th position right now. No, with
bouncer,
a bounce. He could have made bounce again and then skip the free wheel, but of course it's not faster. And all of a sudden, Evo White looking strong to extend their lead.
Sorry about that, but unfortunately for Scarperp, it all went downhill just at the moment we were pronouncing those words. So Caster's Curse is very much in effect, though. Jolty, oh my god, Jolty, what are you doing?
Oh
no, he got sniped at the end by Nitro Feint. What on earth just happened on that round? From the bouncer to the clips to like, nothing just went, everything went awry. But still, Evo White somehow came away with the best of things, so they continue to press on their advantage, 6-2.
Yeah, 6-2 it is. What a messy round that was. Could have been way much more for the 201 STM holders due to the mistakes, but also the water bounce can happen in any given moment. So let's go and see what happens in the next round on grip here. Will Evo White extend their lead and come closer to win the second map here as well? Scarperp and Nitro Feint with a very good start. Now with more speed than Nitro Feint goes into second position for Now. Haha, funny. And Jolty Sonic on that battle for third, so I think Nitro Feint with a mistake. Now Jolty Sonic with a skip here. Look at that. Skipping the free wheel block. FWO's calling him here after that match, saying, yo, we need you to improve the world record on this map. And look at that. It is Scarper with a mistake. Nitro Feint on that second place due to that. So again, such a messy round. No, making the ending barely. Scarper getting third, so it's a draw. Not a victory. Not an ace, it's a draw.
It's a draw, but now we have Evo White once again in a position to get their map somewhat early on. They're not getting set up for a 4-round deal, but yeah, a 5-round deal is still not all that bad, all things considered, considering all of the shenanigans that have been happening on Grip so far. As we're moving on to that said 5th round of the map, we see now having a pretty solid start just ahead of his teammate Jolty Sonic, Scarper in P3, and Nitrofane at the tail end of the field now didn't get the best of entries into the plastic, so he will be sliding back down the order to P4, and we have a bit of a clip at the top of the CP for Jolty Sonic, makes the jump barely, but takes all of his momentum. And so the renowned number 55 liveried car will be out of the running for the big points, and that means, yeah, kind of almost free reign for Evo White, although we do see now trying to challenge Nitrofane for 2nd position and at least get one more round out of that particular map, but it won't happen as the full stall picked into the sign, and thus Scarperp and Nitrofane are heading for their 2nd straight map win in this series with a score of 10-3. Scarperp winning by half a second ahead of his teammate. GG to Evo White, who are now looking stronger than ever, and yeah, 201 STM holders are kind of starting to feel a little bit out of their depth.
Yeah, I mean, if they lose this match, it will be over for them, right? They will have to say bye-bye on that top 17 to 24 position. Will be hard for them to catch up because Evo White has won 2 maps already. We play up until 3 map wins, and we also go to the map pick from Evo White, and it is Airwalk. We've already seen that map quite a lot today. Yeah, also in decisive situations. So let's go and see what will happen on this map. One of the maps that I really like. And let's see what 201 STM holders can do on this map. Can they defeat their opponents or not?
Yeah, this will be the point of no return right now for 201 STM holders. They need to get their act together really, really quickly if they want to have a chance of continuing on and try to get themselves a spot into day 2, but already right out of the gates now going a little bit too eagerly towards the inside of the corner and thus touching the top of the CP with his head, thus dropping 0.7 of a second down compared to the leading trio. Jolty Sonic with a nice double inside line at the right-hander, moving up into the lead of the race, just ahead of the duo of Scarperp and Nitrofane by about 1/10 of a second, but he lost a little bit at the exit from that grass part, so that will allow both Scarperp and Nitrofane to be right within his heels to battle for the lead of the race. Jolty Sonic continuing to hold on for dear life for that first place, but Scarperp will be the first to crack, doing a bit of a pinball going through the chicane as we're moving on to the bumper section, the penultimate bumper section with Jolty Sonic, Nitrofane, and now in that order in first through third, the identity coming up right now. Jolty Sonic leading by about 0.4 of a second, but we've seen plenty of people get their teeth a little bit broken.
Oh my god.
So good. Oh, now trying to go for the snipe, but it did not go his way. That means Scarperp did make a mistake as well, so he will be moving down into P4, staying into P4 rather, with now guaranteeing at the very least the victory. He tried to go for the ace though. You could see now going a little bit faster, trying to go a bit faster than Nitrofane, but ultimately the aim wasn't right there. So yeah. A bit of a missed opportunity, but still, like, taking the lead in round 1 is not so bad.
I mean, that's what I mean with that. This identity is a bit deceiving, because if you push it a lot, you get punished because you jump too far up. Usually it's better on the other version to get that approach, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough here for now. Now gets a good start, and also Jolty Sonic on his heels, or even ahead of him. Look at that, 35,000. So Nitrofane and Scarperp looking to lose a bit of pace here on Airwalk, and we might have a series, ladies and gentlemen. All depends how map number 4 will come into play, and also if Jolty Sonic now can close it out here. But right now they look to get that ace across, as Nitrofane has a good approach, minimizes airtime accordingly, goes up into 5th gear, which is important just before that turn. And the Spaniards just have to survive that identity. Nitrofane with a good line though, coming closer to clipping. No, with a mistake, and Nitrofane getting 2nd place, and it will be the draw because Scarperp also getting that 3rd position. Could have been way much more for the 201 STM holders, but it's only a draw for them.
Only a draw, all because now try to go for a little bit of a tighter line, well, a bit of more of a straighter line up into the final bumper, but he went a little bit too far, thus completely missing out, or like even went a little bit too far to the right hand side, and so he ended up having to respawn, which is very, very punishing. That respawn, you're losing the best part of like 3 to 4 seconds by the time you get back to that bumper. So yeah, this is what ultimately cost a potential victory or even an ace for the 201 STM holders. As we're moving on to round number 3, a neck-and-neck battle between Scarper and Jolty Sonic, trading places at each split. Meanwhile, Now continues to hold on to 3rd place, but he's getting harassed by Nitrofaint in 4th position, trying to get a little bit further up ahead, while Scarper tries to mount a challenge for the lead. No, Jolty Sonic with a very wonky line. He was all over the shot, and he was lucky to get away with that particular save, but that allows the Frenchman Scarper to move up into the lead for Evo White. You also see Nitrofaint right there poised to try and make a move on Now for 3rd position, and maybe even catch up to Jolty Sonic. It's a 3-way fight for 2nd place to potentially get an ace for Evo White. Scarper is going to miss the bumper outright, or is he? It's going to be the win for Jolty Sonic, just ahead of Nitrofaint now, and Scarper missed up the jump.
Yeah.
That's what I saw it coming from a mile away, but Now managing to move up into 3rd will get the victory for the Spanish duo, allowing themselves to get a 2-point lead now over Evo White, 5-3. The comeback is real.
Yeah, so sometimes this identity is very, very messy to spectate. So that's why I tried in the MSI event to or the not MSI. That's something different. But for me, it's the pendant, to just use a French word, to the MSI, the All-Star Championship.
Yeah.
That's why I tried to use the follow all camera there. Because sometimes this identity can be very messy to spectate and also to comprehend what was going on. Because we have seen from maybe one POV that he might miss, or if you have enough experience on this map to do that. But it's very hard to just comprehend what is going on there with all the respawns and the different routes that players are aiming for. But look at that. The 200 SCM holders are again leading 1st and 2nd. Nitrofaint not too far behind. No. However, made a mistake, so he's not on 2nd place anymore. And the Jolty Sonic who's alone there, but Scarper and Nitrofaint looking strong here. Good line from Null, though, coming closer, but released too much. He's out on that one, and it will be a victory for the Frenchies here. Scarper with a 56.41. Not a bad time, all things considered. And also Jolty Sonic not too far behind, but it's 6-5. It's 201 STM holders still in the lead. But they have to get away from Evo White again, because if they go up to 7 points, only one more ace is needed for them to close out this match.
Yeah, but Evo White are continuing to pile on the pressure, because they know that if they are able to make this scenario like that happened last round happen again, they're able to tie things up, and now it's pretty much all things game. And Jolty Sonic is going to make the matters even worse for the Spanish duo by clipping just before at the end of the 1st second. And yeah, that's it. That's some shame for Jolty Sonic. He's down to P4, 4 seconds down. Now is left all on his own to try and prevent Evo White from from tying up the score. Evil what? Scarper continuing to try and pile on to the pressure and try to get along with his teammate Nitrofaint to get Now to crack, continuing to harass him for the lead of the race. Now 2/10 ahead of Nitrofaint right now. Scarper a few tenths behind as well, trying to go up ahead of his teammate, going very wide there, carrying so much more speed compared to Nitrofaint at the exit just before the bumper, but he's going to miss the bumper outright, and he's going to fall right back behind the Jolty Sonic. I can't speak today. This is insane. And Jolty Sonic will move up to 3rd thanks to the troubles of Scarper through the bumper. He cannot reach the finish line. Nitrofaint finishing in 2nd position. And so we are seeing once again the SCM holders moving back to a 2-point lead, and this time with a bit more of a quote-unquote comfortable scenario by just needing 2 points to conclude, but they're not that safe from Evo White actually taking the lead away from themselves, because we've seen that Evo White can take advantage of very silly mistakes.
Yeah, but actually lucky for them, because, you know, No has made that mistake. No, Jolty Sonic has made that mistake at the start and still has gotten himself in a good position. Then Nitrofaint lost the gear in the end, was still able to get that, and Scarper with a mistake. So a very messy round, all things considered. Jolty Sonic getting some airtime there, so he can lose. You can see it loses here a lot of time, but got a good alignment in exchange. So he's still only 0.4 behind his teammate. No is in there as well, but Scarper and Nitrofaint on 1st and 3rd. And this will be one of the situations that we were talking about. 9-8 is still not a comfortable lead. If you know that you play against a team that might be even faster than you, but might not be that consistent on the identity. But let's take a look here one more time, maybe the last time here. Jolty Sonic with a very, very good line. This is looking good, and she will get that 1st position here. No as well. What an insane identity from Jolty Sonic, and they're even winning this map with that insane stuff. 11-6, and we go to map number 4. So not over just yet.
I gotta say, Null came in clutch. He was down in 3rd place and then just decided to go full send over the identity and got it super low at the final bumper, which did work out for him and his teammate Jolty Sonic, as we're going to be moving on to our next map, map number 4, which is Vortex. Now, it is, to be fair, a Evo White pick, so that was actually Team Red that ended up picking it, but it is going to be a very capital map now for the STM holders if they are to hang on to that chance of making it through to day 2, well, at least to the next round of the lower bracket, and then on to day 2 if they're able to win through that. This is very much the money time now for the Spanish duo as they try to continue sailing through on their, I feel like this, I don't know if it's their first appearance in the regionals, but it kind of feels like it, and they're doing a pretty respectable show, no matter the results.
I agree with that. I mean, they pull up a great fight against Nitrofane and Scarper, who have been improving a lot as well. You can see their pace. Let's see who goes for the bug set on this map. Vortex, it is one of my favorite maps from the easy versions. Scarper in the lead, Nitrofane with a small mistake, doesn't have the best amount of speed. This section has been changed. There's no water pool in there, just a transition that Gnaw didn't get that good for. Gnaw did like... Why do I make that joke every time? Well, let's see the identity here, because it looks good for Ava White. Scarper in the lead, Jolty Sonic on second, and there's only 2 moving blocks here for players to clear. Jolty Sonic with a lot of speed, Nitrofane with another mistake and another mistake, but also Gnaw had to respawn. Battle for first is decided. It will be Scarper taking it. Gnaw will get third, so we're gonna start things off with a draw. 105.32 is the time. World record is a 0.7, but 103, so 1.6 seconds away from the world record was this time.
Yep. So yeah, like I feel like we're just gonna be making we're gonna be able to make puns with Now's nickname. I mean, I've tried to steer away from it, but now it's pretty much running into the inevitable as we're moving on to round number 2 with Nitrofane having a bit of a slower start compared to the rest of the field, going over that spinning block, of course, with the no steer, where you have a variety of approaches, but it's all about the timing of the throttle once you get back on that, because if you go a little bit too late, you end up getting flung against the outside retaining wall and forced to release and have a little bit of an uncomfortable moment making it through the CP to regain control of the car. Scarper touching the top of the CP, just at the top of the hill.
One.
And yeah, not with this one. He got a bit of a pinball machine there. Got denied the entry into the corner.
Oh, no.
But now he's done it. Now he's done it. He's
No.
completely flunked it. Scarper moves back up to 3rd place, and Nitrofane will inherit a pretty easy lead of 1.3 seconds over Jolty Sonic, who's not really in a position to catch him back up. And yeah, unfortunately for now, he's not looking too hot at this present moment.
Oh my, what is happening this round?
Jolty Sonic in 2nd position. Scarper, oh my godness. I'm barely seeing that. Yeah, there is some issues towards the bottom of the field there. In the meantime, ahead Nitrofane and Jolty Sonic 1st and 2nd, separated by 0.8 of a second. And in that battle of the strugglers, they will be now moving up ahead and managing to get the upper hand, and thus enabling things to go on with a draw and continuing to keep the STM holders afloat in some capacity.
That was such a messy round that I've just spectated. I just swapped the POV from a player, and
I was so focused on the POV of the leaders because I thought, yeah, maybe there could be some catch up by Jolty Sonic, and then as soon as I watched the other screen, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. That's in the back.
It's a coin toss, right? It's a coin toss all along. If you just spectate someone, you're like, damn, I'm late to the party then, right? And then someone crashes there and there. So a lot of mistakes have happened, but it's 2-2, so nothing happened. Yeah, in terms of points, but maybe in this round, we're gonna see one team going to the lead. As you see, Jolty Sonic had to oversteer quite a bit. Scarper on that 1st position. Gnaw has a lot of speed. Nitrofane is only 0.6 behind, gets a good amount of speed, but still you have icy tires over that part, and your gear still has to kick in. But let's go with Nitrofane here in this round, because he's certainly not that far behind, as he goes for a very wide approach to accumulate as much speed as possible in this sector here. But I don't think it's enough. He has to rely on a mistake here from Jolty Sonic or Gnaw, else it will be another draw. Oh no, it will be an ace, because it is Scarper with a mistake, and all of a sudden 201 STM holders are looking very good here to even take that map. Aces are very overpowered. It is 5-2. Good match that we picked there.
I wonder if they've been exchanging PayPals before the match. And of course, Surely not. Of course, all of this is a joke. In case you were wondering, it's kind of weird to be able to have to make disclaimers like this because you know that some people are going to be misconstruing everything.
Yep.
But either way, moving on to round number 4, and yeah, the STM holders having taken advantage of a very big mistake from Scarper towards the end of round number 3 to move up into the lead of proceedings, and in with a shot of actually forcing this issue into game number 5, and that can be very, very interesting indeed. As we're moving on to the reactive boost part, nobody going for the bug slide actually. Everybody opting for the safer approach of just landing on the ground and navigating the normal way through the reactor boost. There you go. I was trying to find my words, but yeah, then Jolty Sonic and Scarper getting ahead of Null after the bobsleigh part, and Null losing a lot more time after that penultimate pipe, so he will be falling back into the clutches of Nitro Feint, who seizes the opportunity to try and move up into 3rd position. Jolty Sonic currently leading Scarper by about 0.3 of a second before the final pipe, now getting overtaken by Nitro Feint. As we're moving through that final pipe, Nitro Feint will be able to retain 3rd place, and thus we'll be moving back to a draw situation with Jolty Sonic winning with a 105.027, half a second ahead of Scarper, and then the battle for 3rd place, Nitro Feint winning by about a quarter of a second ahead, and now 6-3 for 201 STM holders.
Yeah, for 201 STM holders. I mean, also the draw was in favor for them, so quite important that they get themselves as much points as possible. Just don't get aced here, and it's fine. Even a victory for Evo White would be somewhat okay, because then it would be 7-5. That is still something that you can work with, but of course you want to get as much point as possible. 8-4 would be insane for the 201 STM holders. Let's see if they can get at least a victory here as Scarper gets a very good start. No, gets a slowdown there magically. Not sure if he clipped or something like that, but it looked quite interesting there from the Spaniard as Nitro Feint gets a good line here. No, also with a good approach over that freewheel bobsleigh approach, which is not that easy to nail. Also on the hard version, we have a water jump afterwards and a speed check, which can be quite hard to nail. Scarper still on the lead. He knows that he has to win that round. Jolty Sonic with a very aggressive line, coming closer to that 1st position here. Scarper with more speed, has to survive the identity. It's a bit harder to nail that identity with more speed, but it's enough here for the Frenchman. It is No and Jolty Sonic behind, but Scarper still getting that draw across here, but still the 201 STM holders are capitalizing from that. It is track point. Another ace, which has already happened, would win them the map.
Indeed, but it was a very good race up front. Just 53 thousandths of a second between 1st and 2nd. Scarper and Jolty Sonic going at it right up until the bitter end, and yeah, giving us a great show towards the end of the round as we're moving on to round number 6, and we're already seeing No, unfortunately, missing up the transfer, so that will not be benefiting the 201 STM holders at all. It's all up to Jolty Sonic now to try and salvage at the very least a point from this situation to try and make the situation a little bit more palatable, but he gets full side on to the checkpoint at the reactor boost part, though we did see Nitro Feint with a very, very slow exit from that, so he will be moving back down into 3rd place, the Frenchman, and it's all down to Scarper now to hold the fort for Evo White again, and Jolty Sonic messes up the alignment to the pipe. We've seen it before in Challenger League, we've seen it before in Grand League as well. It's not quite uncommon to see those mistakes happen, and that means we have the counter ace that has been so sorely needed for Evo White coming right up the way of Scarper and Nitro Feint, who are going to be evening up the scoreline, and now it's a very, very different situation, and the script somewhat flipped because, yes, STM holders are on that point, but so are Evo White, and if it could go either way. Yeah, match point even, because, yeah, they're already having won the first 2 maps of the series, and so now the STM holders more than ever need to get their acts together, and they need to get quick at acting.
Yeah, they need to get it, actually. I mean, Evo White were just lurking behind, getting 4 draws and then also getting ace, but now getting the ace themselves in round number 6. So round number 7 could be the last one of this match, or on this map just, and we're gonna go to map number 5. Everyone gets to start now. No and Jolty Sonic are in the lead though. Nitro Feint not too far behind. Let's see who cracks under the pressure the first. Nitro Feint not getting as much speed as he maybe wanted to get, or as anticipated here. And the Spaniards are leading. We could see map number 5. No, with a not that good exit though. That was not what you want to get there. Very tricky to nail that one, and it's Jolty Sonic in the lead right now. And also Nitro Feint missing out on the checkpoint. So it is No, or like missing out on the jump, not on the checkpoint. I thought that you would miss that, but that is not the case. So No all of a sudden goes up to 3rd position. So slight advantage for 201 SDM holders, but never call it too soon here, as Scarbup still has to clear one identity part here. He does do so indeed. Noah also makes it, just saves it, and the 201 SDM holders are so close of reaching the last map here, winning 2 maps in a row after being behind, and it looked very grim for them. They can now eventually make it happen. 9-8, Evo White at least in need of a victory in this round.
This is so tense. This is so tense after all of the stuff that we've seen happen. So I feel like we made a good decision to witness one of the lower bracket matches because, yeah,
Same.
it is a pretty tense all around because, yeah, it looked very grim at the end of the second map for the STM holders, but they were able to get back together with that win on Airwalk, and then potentially another win coming on Vortex, but they have to get this one in, and they have to enforce at the very least a draw. They cannot let a victory slip for Evo White, because otherwise I would force them into overtime and get them in a bit more of a shaky ground there, as we're moving on to the midway part of the map now, currently winning the round temporarily. Scarperp in second, Nitrofang currently getting into the clutches of Jolty Sonic, and currently looking for a victory position for the 201 STM holders right now. Scarper continuing to chase down. Nitro Fate getting very slow at the exit of the pipe right there, so he will be dropping out of contention, and Scarper getting reeled in slowly but surely, but Jolty Sonic cannot really be in a position to attack for the lead versus Now. Now has to just make it through the identity nice and safe, and it seems as though he make it through clean. Scarper in second and Jolty Sonic in P3. The order will stay as is, and with this, it will be a victory 11-9 for the 201 STM holders to even up the score on the series 2-2. First 2 maps went to Evo White. The next 2 maps went to the STM holders, and that means one thing: we're on to a decider yet again for this particular day, and we're moving on to Control to decide who from Evo White and who from STM holders will get eliminated.
Dude, I think our match picks are on point. Like, the last 2 matches were great that we've witnessed.
Well, except maybe round
Chat,
1 in terms of length.
Chat, it was you. It was you picking that match here. So you can get a pat on back for, or we get a pat on back for you here in the chat. You guys picked that. That is awesome to see. And now we go to Control, which is very cool. The last map, one of my favorite ones. I'm almost say that about every map, but there you go. Let's see who takes the 201 STM holders, winning 2 maps in a row. Can they also take home the 3rd one? The momentum definitely shifted towards their way, but will it be enough to take it home or not? Evo White looked so strong on the start, and also here having a good start. No, now in the lead. Jolty Sonic 0.3 behind, gives us a very good overview of the playing field here. The Spaniard is fighting it out here against the 2 Frenchies. Who are getting a good line. Nitrofane, not with the best amount of speed though in that section. Jolty Sonic way too low over jump, so he will be out, and Noah has to win that round to enforce a tie in this one. But will it be enough though? Scarper not releasing a bit too much there, but he can also save it. They are seeing that Jolty Sonic is 5 seconds behind. No, jumps super far up, and this is not what you want to go for. This disaster striking 1 minute 0-1-2 is the winning time from Scarper. Nitrofane getting second, and No up to last.
Yeah, that was not a good angle from Null there at the very final jump, and yeah, he couldn't even salvage that. The trajectory was way too straight. He was not having enough of a tangent to actually hit the backboard like you're supposed to do. So effectively, it was kind of compromising the landing there, and that very low landing and that touch of the exit bar was basically just the straw that broke the camel's back for Now, which basically allowed Evo White to romp their way to an ace 3-0, and a very solid option right now being posed by Evo White, although Nitrofate didn't get the best bubble right there, so he will be dropping down to 8/10 down on the leading trio of Now, Jolty Sonic, and Scarper. Regroup within 1/10 of a second. Scarper going to go for a little bit of a lower line, getting earlier acceleration out of the corner, then moving on to the bobsleigh part. Now did not get the best of exits from the bobsleigh part, loses a ton of speed after that brutal landing, and Jolty Sonic crashing into the walls not once but twice, which means Now is left to pick up the slack and try to get at least a point. He's too far away from Scarper to enforce a draw. I mean, he's got Nitrofate to worry about. He's right there filling his mirrors, but Nitrofate is not going to be attacking Now for second place just yet. 59.345 for Scarper, winning the round individually, and a victory going towards Evo White, and they are now at the halfway mark of that map score-wise. Yeah, STM holders, the clock is ticking, and you need to respond.
Yeah, they need to respond now, else the mud is calling. and they have to say bye-bye. But already an absolute insane performance from Jolty Sonic, and no, they should not hide behind that, you know, that they only got beaten in that. The whole story is that it was a very close series, and it's not over just yet, you know. No, now with a mistake. A small mistake, jumping a bit too far there, and it's Scarperp and Nitrofeint in second and third position here, respectively. Jolty Sonic off to a great start though, and no, just needs to get that third position. Good jump here into the bobsleigh here. Very, very good amount of speed accumulated here from the Spanish player as well. Nitrofeint with a mistake, but so did it no, and Scarperp from fourth to second place, and Jolty Sonic still leading. Still a good round for the STM holders, but Jolty Sonic not with the best amount of speed. Will they survive the identity? Look at the line here from No. Here, will it be enough to overtake? It's so close. It is 16,000 of a second, and Scarperp saves the day for Evo White. It could have been an ace, but it is a draw in favor for Evo White because they're already leading by 4 points.
Man, I was so much believing in Nah and Jolty Sonic because from my perspective, Scarperp went way too high. I thought he was going to lose so much time with how high he went at that particular jump, and he managed to make it stick all the way into the line to beat out everyone by a mere few hundredths of a second. In the meantime, though, in this round, he doesn't get the slide Scarperp, and that's going to be him out of the running, and up front it will be Jolty Sonic, and now first and second, Nitrofeint right there with them, so not really relenting any kind of pressure, and not really relinquishing any kind of pace left on the table there. Now and Jolty Sonic are going to have to fight it out the hard way to try and prevent Evo White from walking away with an easy victory, and so far they're going in tandem, neck and neck. Nitrofeint did not get the best exit from the bobsleigh part, so that will be just a surefire round win and an ace for Jolty Sonic, and now they just need to bring this one home. They should not mess this up at all. They will probably be looking at the gaps and saying, okay, we got this, we can just save it, and that's going to be the case with Jolty Sonic winning ahead of Null with a 59.825, and now being in the very low 1 minutes, and there we go. We now have a bit more of a match on our hands with a 6-5 advantage for Evo White, but the STM holders continue to hang on, and they continue to grip the chance with as hard of a fist as they could.
Yeah, that's awesome to see there, that they are already coming back there and eventually are still in the match. So they're just like on life support, but you know, they're like, okay, we're just gonna ace them again, and an ace is of course really overpowered in that kind of situation. And let's go into round number 5. On track 5, Jolty Sonic, not with a good start, had to release quite a lot, so you lose a lot of speed in the long run here. Scarperp and Nitrofeint are still leading in this series right now with 1 point. But map-wise, it's tied, so whoever wins this map goes on to the top 16 and also secures already 1 World Tour point to their account as Null leads the round. It is Jolty Sonic also with a good line. Scarperp didn't have it that well, and we approach the identity here for the 5th time. Null quite comfortably leading by 0.4 of a second, makes it quite nicely. Nitrofeint jumping a bit lower, but it's not enough to overtake, and we have a 7-7 scoreline. It is match point for both teams. What a great match is that?
Man, you gotta give credit. I mean, I know we've been waxing lyrical about them, but you gotta give credit to Jolty Sonic, and now we're credits to, because they are the embodiment of tenacity right now. They are not giving up, not one bit, and they're right there in for the taking and potentially knocking out one of the Evo teams that are engaged. Well, the only Evo team I think engaged in this particular regional, but still, it would be no small feat to be continuing their way into the lower bracket like this. And yeah, so far they're trying to make it happen with Jolty and Null moving into first and second, and already trying to pull a gap on everyone else, with Scarperp a quarter of a second down on the Spanish duo. Nitrofeint even further down, 4/10 down as we're moving on to the bobsleigh section.
Oh my
Jolty
god.
Sonic, Null, Scarperp trying to catch up hand over fist, gets a much better exit compared to Jolty Sonic, tries to keep the dream alive for Evo White, but look at this, he's now getting ahead of Null, or almost just before the snaking section. The no breaks, but Null continues to retaliate. He does not want to give up. Scarperp going for a bit of an earlier setup for a tighter corner. Moving on to the finish line. No, actually completely flunked it at the identity, and Scarperp will win with Nitrofeint in third. Evo White bounced back into the lead, 9-8 for red team. It's still all to play for. We may get into overtime on our last game.
Yeah, we might go into overtime, and now different situation on Vortex. We've had that 201 STM holders. We're having this 9-8 advantage, and now it is Evo White match point, but also 201 STM holders with an ace. They will also win this match, And with a victory, we go into overtime. So let us see who takes it. Round number 7 on the 5th map here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see who takes it. No, off to a great start. It is Scarperp on 2nd position right now. Jolty Sonic needs to get a better transition here, but both Spaniards are jumping so far there, getting so much airtime that Scarperp just is miles ahead. Half a second. And also Nitrofink going up into 2nd position. A miracle has to happen, but this map has shown us that you can come back here from that kind of sluggish
like
start. But no, also with a mistake, had to respawn, and I think that is over. But man, what a great match that was here. Give a round of applause, or some Drake, some claps in the chat here for the 201 STM holders. They have brought us a very, very cool match, and almost comeback. But that was such a nice match, and I'm happy that we are both witnessing and casting that 1 gig.
Yeah, I'm very happy that we got to win this. And I think this is also thanks to you, Chad, as Kai always said. So give yourself a pat on the back for that banger of a match choice. But yeah, 11-9 for Evil White to take the series 3-2 after an enthralling final map. So big congrats to Nitro Faint and Scarperp, who continue on to the lower bracket for the regional, but still give a round of applause to Now and to Jolty Sonic, because I feel like they deserve the support that they have been given, and they deserve the result that they have actually shown us. And yeah, maybe a good sign for things to come, maybe in the next regional in 3 weeks' time.
I hope so. I hope so as well. And we also gonna cast that one, of course. Geek and me. I hope so. I think so.
I hope so as well.
Yeah, I think so. We're gonna cast the regionals there as well, and of course day 2 tomorrow as well. We have one more match today, because we of course are both involved in the TMCL that will happen afterwards as well. Geek is casting on this channel on the French language, and I'll be casting in English on my channel. Yep. So you can also check that out, because there will also be a cast here from Twiggy and from Kriddy today. Twiggy and Kriddy. That is cool. I'm Twiggy and Kriddy, that's like the rhymes. But they're also casting on this channel here, so there's non-stop Trackmania action on the weekend, and also tomorrow morning you will also be casting an event, don't you?
Tomorrow morning, casting an event. Oh yeah, well, tomorrow morning, of course, for the French crowd, I will be, of course, casting the finale of the APAC regional, starting at 8 a.m. CEST, of course, with the semifinals followed by the grand final. Very, very early. But I feel like, you know what? I gotta fix my sleep schedule. What better way to do that than try to commentate the APAC regional? So there you go. Have at it.
Yeah, that's good. That's in German would say zwei Fliegen mit einer Klatsche. Yeah, but it's like I think it's a different saying in English.
2 birds in 1 stone. 2 birds in 1 stone. I feel like it's roughly the same.
It's always a bit different. It's always
in
a bit
French,
different.
it's called faire d'une pierre deux coups. So two hits on 1 stone. So it's roughly similar.
Yeah. So in German it's like 2 flies with 1 slap. You know.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess we can just talk a little bit about the lineups that we're going to be seeing in our final match of the day. In our final matches of the day. So 4 matches for the taking. There is Gravity Red versus Purple Split. Then we have Frites Esport. That will always make it funny for me. It's a French-Belgian coalition between Maxtrack and Rask, facing off against Nick Zombie and Jean René from the Auxerre Cross. I guess we should say Auxerre Cross teamless, because since a few days ago, Jean René is not officially playing under the Hominum banner anymore. And if you're an organization watching this and you need a player to get yourself into the Trackmania realm, Jean René is your guy. You can trust him to actually bring the W home. Like,
also younger really, player still.
Yeah, very, very young player, so tons of potential in him. Then on the other matches, we have Bavaria 2 versus Ferox. Looks like a little bit more of a one-sided fight. That's gonna be a bit gruesome for Bavaria 2. I kind of feel sorry in advance. And then we have Evil White versus Sark. And the winners of each match, respectively, will get to face off against Team Alkia, Project Conquerors, Lille TLB, and Team Rex.
Yeah, those were the losers of the upper bracket round 3, where Utopia won against Project Conquerors 3-0. Then Alkia lost against BPP 3-1 actually. Exalty B won 3-2 against Team Rex. So Team Rex certainly is ready there. So
Omega Dionysos, they're looking pretty strong.
Yeah, so that is great to see. And then we have Lil XTLB, who lost against Gravity and Shift. Oh, they have also made it into the quarterfinals already for tomorrow. So how this works now. So those 4 teams that I've mentioned that won have qualified towards day 2 because they have won the winner bracket. And they will play against in loser bracket round 4. They will play against the winners of that one. So they just have the upper seat. But you can also see that on the Leaguewipedia. So there's still 2 more matches in the lower bracket. We are now in loser bracket round 3. And what match should we cast? I think Fergus vs Bavaria 2 is kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Maybe Fritz Esport versus Homonusun or Osurf Homonusun.
Fritzbox Esport or
Fritzbox, like Fritz, dude. Yeah. French fries Esport. Like, how do you pronounce that again?
Friet.
Friet.
It's yeah. Friet.
Okay,
that's how you pronounce it.
You don't pronounce the S. Okay.
Yeah, you don't pronounce the S. The S is silent.
Yeah, of course it's silent. Of course it's silent. Let me quickly actually pay out the prediction here. It was Team Evo winning. There you go.
Yep. But a very, very close match, all things considered. So I actually wonder what was the percentage of betting.
Hello? Beep boop.
From each team. Oh, beep boop.
Beep boop. Okay, there you go.
Okay,
again.
there you go. Now I was wondering what. Okay. Evo had a pretty significant margin, 82% of votes for Evo. So pretty safe bet. So
let's go server 2 then.
Okay.
So it is Frit Esport versus Homonusun. So
this is Osurf versus Osurf Cross No Team. And yeah, we do have everyone on there, and we are joining right at the beginning of the pick and ban. So this is pretty much perfect timing. So we do have, well, first pick will be for the Frit Esport team. So first ban was for Osurf. So Vortex and Grip are the first banned maps in this confrontation. Now we're moving on to our salvo of picks, with the rest of the maps currently being decided. A little bit of a discussion maybe between Razg and Maxtrack. Breaking will be the first pick for blue team, followed by Urwalk almost immediately.
Yeah, I just had to make a gamba here, guys, so we missed a little bit, but thank you so much for the input there. What the pick and ban is. So Breaking and Airwalk are map 1 and 2. And we're still waiting for the other maps to be picked. Guys, this will be the second last best of 5 that we will be casting. The other matches will take place tomorrow, so the players have a little bit of room to breathe. Then we have Sinuous and Frosty also being picked. So quite maps that I don't really see. Only Speed is missing now, but of course it's banned. And Off-Road will be the decider. Quite a trend that we see Off-Road in the map pool as well. So this is the last match of the evening, or of the day for us on this channel, but we're also going to be casting the TMCL later for our respective teams. Will you be casting all matches actually, or only for your team?
I'm planning to do the whole day because we're pretty far down in the grand scheme of things. We're playing as like third match of the day, and I feel like, why not cast the whole day after all?
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
just gonna have to take some throat pills afterwards because and also some hydration because my mouth is starting to run dry.
Same. I'm gonna take another painkiller because maybe you've seen that I'm a bit of a hamster today because on the left side my 2 wisdom teeth got removed. Everything is good, but of course it's swollen a bit, so.
Is it only like one side that was causing problem?
No, actually they wanted to remove 2, but I needed so much anesthesia, local anesthesia, that they couldn't do the other side. And I was not feeling that good. I was not feeling that good from the anesthesia.
Yeah, like for the extraction, it would have been
overdose.
The extraction in the it would have been overdose, and it was not worth it unless you were going for like a general anesthesia, which is a bit scary in and of itself. So
yeah, I mean, I don't really care about that too much. It's just funny that my left tongue was numb, you know. But for everyone who's I'm not casting on drugs, guys. That's why I got local anesthesia, because doesn't knock you out. That doesn't knock you out, the local anesthesia. It's like your tongue is numb for 4 hours, but it has a backlash. So if you get too much, like I did, I had the maximum doses, you like feel you can't puke from it because of course your body's reacting to the anesthesia in there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like, wait, something's not right. You're like ingested something that's not good for you.
Exactly.
You should expel that from the body before it gets processed and you could die. Either way, we are...
Okay, that escalated quickly.
Yeah, sorry. We're kind of moving back on track here very swiftly and very abruptly here because we're already getting started with round number 1 from Frit Esport versus Oser versus no team, and not Homie no Tsun as it says in the title there. And yeah, Raz getting a pretty solid start, all things considered, just ahead of Jean-René, Max Track in P3, and yeah, Nick will be the first man to be left behind, 7/10 down on the leading trio. Oh, loss of grip from Rask, and he's going to be touching this CP right as he crosses it. The worst possible thing that could ever do. He also narrowly avoids landing into the hole in the start of the dirt part. So Jean-René inherits the lead ahead of Max Track. Nick will be in P3, so that could still be a win for the red team as we're moving on to the identity now with just one corner to go. Heavily truncated identity, that one as well, on braking, and Jean-René will take the win. But Nick Zolby is also making a mistake, and no, he will not take the win. Jean-René, he's forced to respawn with Raz moving up into second. It's an ace for Frit Esports against all odds. And we're kicking off with the Fiesta already? Jesus.
Yeah, they fried their opponents here in this round. It was Jean-René with a mistake there, so quite unfortunate stuff. They're clipping, and he wasn't also on a bad time. So the first time that we see braking today, as you said, a quite tricky identity. It was really hard for me to get my head around that one because it feels you have to be in the rhythm and brake in the exact spot and don't oversteer if you go for that wiggle, which is of course a bit faster because you start on a bit more. Weather code is a 1:13. I think we have also seen that time by Melio in the regionals itself. There was a clip from Birdie who also covered day 1 and day 2 as well, and he spectated him whilst he was driving the
yeah,
Wildcard.
true. It was driven in match, right?
Yeah, it was driven in a match, so a good time here by Melio, and it is Rask right now in the lead, and Max Track not too far behind. I met Rask on a LAN. He's a very chill guy, I can just tell you that. Very cool to see him, and also improving quite a lot, but now it's of course important that they make it into the top 8, also for the Tour World Tour points that are on the line, compared to the 1 point that you get for top 9 to 16. And, well, it is Jean-René right now surviving the identity, 1:65. Good time, all things considered. Rask on 3rd, and Nick Sobi has made some more mistakes and is 9 seconds behind and getting 4th position. Still good round for Frit Esports, getting that draw and not extending the lead, but getting 1 more point and coming closer to the 10-point threshold.
Yeah, it seems as though Nick Sobi is getting a little bit of a hold up there from braking. He doesn't really feel that comfortable around the map, with the 2 rounds proving to be somewhat difficult for the youngster from Team Oserve at the present moment. Let's see if he's able to kind of like flip the momentum back in his favor as we're moving on to round number 3, just a tiny bit behind the leading trio, who are regrouped within 1/10 of a second, with just a 2/10 gap separating that little nucleus from the free electron. That is Nick Solby down in 4th position as we're moving on to the ice slide, with Raz going a little bit wider, same for Max Slack going a bit wider on exit compared to Jean-René, and it's still very much all to play for in the top 3, just yeah, less than a 10/6 hundredth of a second, and Rask touching the outside of the dirt just before exiting the dirt, so that will promote Nick Zolby up into 3rd position. Jean-René is still currently holding the lead for the red team, with Max Track in 2nd position. Can Nick Zolby try to catch him back up and try to pull a fast one on his fellow teammate from Oserve? Not quite. It will still be a victory for the Oserve Orglis, quote-unquote, matchup, but yeah, that allows them to bridge the gap to just 2 points, 5-3.
Yeah, very important for them that they have gotten themselves that victory in that round, to not fall further behind. Nick Sobi not getting a good start there, is going over that freeway with no speed. You can see it, how punishing it is. That's why I always release before that, but of course you can then go for the inside approach, but still you have no speed to work with there. So Nick Sobi has to rely on his teammate Jean-René, who did very fantastic in the last 2 rounds to make something happen. It is Rask overdrifting, important also here to not bounce and hold that gear. The gear, like, you're in a very, very low RPM sector, and if you just bounce a little bit, the gear will just drop to 3 there, right? So that is really important to get, and it is Max Track and Rask both with a fantastic ice section. Max Track accumulating a lot of speed, and Jean-René has made a small mistake. By the looks of it, is 0.7 behind. So the Belgium and the French player playing for Team Frit Esport are leading the round right now, looking quite good, saving it quite a bit. Rask maybe a bit too wide. Max Track hitting the wall. Has Jean-René more speed? No, he doesn't have enough speed here because he had to respawn, and it's another ace for them. 8-3, looking very good for them on this map.
Yeah, that was a bit not quite a lucky one, but a very fortuitous outcome for the French-Belgian duo. With Max Track might have been thinking, oh god, where is Jean-René, and he might have had maybe the call from from Rask, who kind of like flipped to see the gas. He was like, okay, don't worry, you still
Jean-René.
have plenty of gap. And yeah, Jean-René, unfortunately, and Nick Zobby as well, getting ejected right after that water part. So that means, yeah, it's a pretty premature end to map 1. It seems like with Jean-René struggling even more at the start than he would have liked to. And so it will be Rask and Maxtrack separated by 0.4 of a second and having a very relaxing round ahead of him. Well, relaxing in competitive terms, meaning that they don't have to push as hard, of course, with Rask going for a bit of a more late apex and a bit of a later dive down in the ice part before heading into that little dirt part through there, which we see from the perspective of Maxtrack, his teammate, as we're moving onto the identity just after that little dip in the water before the little identity there. And yeah, it seems that we do go for the wiggle, although there are two schools of thought with those particular sections where you either go for the wiggle to regain the grip a bit faster, or you go for the safe way and just stand on the brakes as hard as you can and try to mash your thumb into that brake button to the point that you can actually get a mark on your thumb so that you actually get down to a safer speed to make it through the corner safely. But Maxtrack with a 1:00.922 got ahead of his teammate Rask by the end, and that means another ace for Fritty Sport, who wins the first map 11-3.
Yeah, good performance here from Rask and Maxtrack there, I just have to say that. And of course, we all know if you press the button harder, you brake harder, right? It's always like that.
Yeah, that's how it works, right?
Yeah, that's how... Doesn't it work like that, Chad? I think so. But I'm also someone who just... You know, I press the buttons on my controller really hard. Also, my sticks... Like, that's why I break my controllers. Like, after a year, they're broken because I'm just, like... I press the buttons really hard.
Oh,
you know?
God.
Yeah.
We're kind of like those. We're kind of like the sim racers where they just where they just you know how you just arm your foot before you actually go for a very heavy brake. We're just kind of like that, but for our thumbs, we're like, okay, okay, wait for it now, and that's it. We just yank on the freaking brake every time.
Or just move my head every time when I when I turtle, I just move in the direction to be in the rhythm. It looks funny. It looks very funny when I do that. But anyways, it is Frit Esport in the lead, and now we go to Airwalk. I've seen this map quite a lot today, and it is Maxtrack and also Nick Zobby with some mistakes. Nick Zobby still on 3rd position right now, and Rask finds himself in the lead. So very good performance here from the Belgian players so far. Also the times on the previous map were not too bad. World record was just above 1 minute time. So good to see that the pace is there here in this kind of event. And it is Rask finding himself in the lead. Let's see what he can do. Jean-René maybe a bit too far to the left, but goes for a very risky approach. Oh my god.
But, no.
But yeah, well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Because this time would have been insane on the normal version of the map. But since he was too fast, he overjumped the ring. And that's how you lose the rounds, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I feel like even on like the regular version of the map, you still have to release like
But he would have still finished the round, right?
Yeah, but still, like I feel like it's pretty much inevitable that you have to like release like no tomorrow in order to make it through either the ring or even the regular finish in the more regular version of the map. So it is not easy to really judge that thing. But yeah, you gotta give kudos for Jean-René, who just tried to send it, and he sent it a little bit too much, touched the top of the CP, which sent him in a tighter collision course with the wall, and off of the map, Jean-René goes, meaning that Rask and Maxtrack now have a bit more of a safer time and a bit more of an easier time through that round. Maxtrack trying to make amends from the previous round where he was not looking that fast compared to Jean-René and to Nick Zobby after an early mistake, but so far so good right now from the other OSAF player on the track right now. He's right up with his teammate Rask, going in tandem for the finish line. Nick Zobby 6/10 down compared to the leading duo through the identity. They go. Maxtrack's going to be falling off of the map indeed. Yeah, Rask will finish ahead of Nick Zobby as a result of this, and Jean-René even passes up in 3rd, so it will be a draw that will still guarantee the lead for Frit Esport, but a bit of a missed opportunity, that one.
Yeah, definitely a missed opportunity for them to already walk away quite a lot. I mean, 3-2 is still good, but a 5-1 would have even been better for them in that case. So it is not enough for Frit Esports there. I mean, still a draw. They're kind of capitalizing from that because they're 1 point ahead, but 1 point that early into a map is not a lot. You know, if Jean-René and Nick Zobby just get 1st and 2nd now, they're still leading 5-3. So everything can still happen here, but Rask and Maxtrack getting a very good start in this on this map here, and they find themselves on first and second position. With that, Jean-René and Nick Sobey not too far behind, so close round, which could be decided by the identity, but also by this tricky drift, which is quite hard to nail, but everyone gets it very nicely. Nick Sobey with a lot of speed. Important now to get a smooth landing in there, to get that fifth gear as well. Raz still leading the rounds. Everyone gets it accordingly. Nick Sobey going a bit too wide. Let's go into his POV. Still a very good one to follow. Raz jumping super low. Release accordingly. Who's gonna get first? It is so close to call it. Jean-René saving the day, but what a round was that, Geek? Super close here in the top 3, but Jean-René saves the day, and it is another draw.
Yeah, Jean-René going for a but much lower line compared to the Maxtrack and Rask, and that allows the red team to salvage a draw from the midst of the chaos. And yeah, Nick Sobey going a little bit wider, trying to get a bit more exit speed from that little wide line, but it didn't really pay off in the end. He was forced to respawn at the bumper, and already we have lost Nick Sobey, as we were speaking of the devil, moving down into last place, 1 second down compared to the rest of the field after an early touch in the first sector. Rask trying to pull a little bit of room to breathe right now for himself compared to his teammate and Jean-René right now, who are going neck and neck for second position. The gap is around a quarter of a second in favor of Raz right now in the lead. Maxtrack continuing to go toe-to-toe with Jean-René, who continues to try and fight for that second position. Moving on to the penultimate bumper. Maxtrack forced to release the TNT tiny bit, with Jean-René allowing himself to move up into second position thanks to that little release from Maxtrack. Moving up onto the identity now. 0.3 of a second of an advantage for Raz coming to the first bumper, but look at Jean-René going solo. Raz is releasing so much, and that means Jean-René will save the day once again to salvage a draw and even a victory, with Raz not making it, but Nick Sobey also not making it. He's actually been forced to respawn right after the first bumper, and so it will still be a draw for Tmwt Esport, but it could have been oh so close to a victory there.
Yeah, again, Jean-René with such a nice identity here, saving the day for the second time in a row. 56.15 the time here. World record is a 0.20, but a 55.20, so roughly 1 second away from it. And both teams showing good pace here, but Jean-René has the identity just figured out so well. Right now we have Nick Sobey missing out on the start, so he's behind again, the third time now. Tmwt Esport with the opportunity to get that ace, but Jean-René is still behind. Can he make it again or not? They need to get some more points than that draw though, but with that pace from Jean-René, it will be very hard for Tmwt Esport to go anywhere. But Jean-René right now 200s behind, 210s behind. Rask with a no slide. The tricky slide there is very, very hard to, or it's a very tricky slide to do all along, but let's focus on that fight for first. Maxtrack, no, with the best amount of speed. Jean-René coming closer there. Good identity yet again here from Jean-René, and he will do it again. What a great identity that was. Look how late he hit the bumper there, just minimizing the airtime accordingly and finishing so fast into the identity. And it's another draw because Jean-René is just absolutely insane on that identity.
Yeah, and dipping into the 55s with a 55.962 this round, a few, 7/10 away from the current record attained by Wizzy. But yeah, Jean-René just got that little ace up his sleeve that he can just pull out at any moment to salvage at the very least something for Osav Cross Hominotsun to continue fighting on for the win and get their first map of their day. And now matters are going to be a lot easier with that heavy clip from Rask at the end of sector number 1. The Belgian is going to be demoted down to last place, 2 seconds down, and he's going to be joining Nick Sobey as well, who has had a very, very slow exit from that double right-hander following that bumper section. Jean-René taking the lead, and I think he's going to be pretty much unstoppable over the course of the last sector, especially with the identity that he has and that we've witnessed time and time again, especially after Maxtrack unfortunately got a little bit of airtime, got a slide, and thus had the pinball machine. He gets destroyed by his teammate Rask, and yeah, Nick Sobey seems to have had a bit of a hard time as well. Jean-René just needs to safe it. He doesn't need to push it that hard. He can go for the safe one if he wants to, but it seems as though he's going to go. He doesn't care. He doesn't even give a damn. He's going to go through to the finish. It's 56.0, low 56s, high 55s. We're continuing in that particular trend, and we're continuing the trend of draws. It feels like the freestyle progression from stage 1 is coming back flooding, with just draws continuing to draw out the rounds forever and ever and ever. Not really any tendency to really kind of take away from those rounds.
Yeah, it is just the whole story, the last 4 rounds, right? It is Jean-René just dominating, especially in the ending, and just get that first position. However, Tmwt Esport on their way to win this map gradually. Also Nick Sobey making a mistake, and if Jean-René cracks once, oh, it is Raz cracking right now, who had to respawn. So Nick Sobey up to 3rd position we could see an 8-8, and with that, the little overtime situation, because with an 8-8, every win outcome would result into a map win for either of the teams. But right now it is Maxtrack versus Jean-René. Now Maxtrack can get that tie for his team, which would be super important here for them to just still be in the lead into the next round. Maxtrack looking strong. Jean-René again pushing in that. That looks so good again. What are you doing, Jean-René, man? This is illegal. What a great identity yet again from the young French talent. 56.06. He was so far behind, I think 0.15, and he wins the round for the 5th time in a row.
Fifth win in a row so far in the rounds as we enter round number 8. And also Nick Zolby, we gotta give him a little bit of credit. He was there where he needed the most. He was there in third place right when it counted, and he needs just to pull that off all again. He knows that Jean-René is able to pull off some pretty swift round. And
oh my god, how did he survive?
No, Jean-René is not dead. I mean, the perspective can be a little bit tricky there, and yeah, it was a little bit of a hairy moment. Nick Zolby, unfortunately, a little bit further down the order than he would like to be. He was second down compared to his teammates, currently battling versus Razg and Mastrak, who's a little bit further down as well. 4/10 down on the current leader, and Razg will actually get a little bit of a slide out, gets away from the wall just in time. But it looks as though Jean-René will be able to continue pounding in his advantage and continue asserting his supremacy over Airwalk. But Nick Zolby just needs to actually get past one of the 2 Frites Esport members. Jean-René can just go to the finish line and get the win for himself, and he will do so.
No.
And actually, Maxtrack and Rask will completely flunk it at the finish line and does give the ace on the silver plate to Jean-René and Nick Zolby, who are going to be snatching the win away from Frites Esport and evening the score in the best of 5 series 1-1.
Yeah, what a static match that was. So many draws. I think 6 draws in total after each other after the victory from Frites Esports in round number 1. And now, no wait, 5 draws, victory, 5 draws, victory, ace. That was how it was. So it is 1-1, and now we're gonna go to Sinuous. This might be the pick from also from Nasun, right?
No, I think that was the pick from Frites Esport.
Okay, so then they're the upper seed. Okay. All right. So let's start with this one. It is literally from now on, it's just a best of 3 because both teams have secured 1 map win. But let's see who qualifies to day number 2. As we see Maxtrack and Rask quite convincingly winning map number 1. They were so close of also winning map number 2, to be honest. They had so many opportunities to just get that one across, but they couldn't really get it there. Also after that Jean-René show, where he just got so many wins in a row and just dominated and was the MVP for me on Airwalk. He finds himself on that 1-1 situation. They had the opportunities, but they didn't use them. And now it is also Rask with the first mistake. Maxtrack in the lead. Nick Zolby with a good line as well. Let's see the ending, though. Can be quite hard to nail as well. Also this exit here. Jean-René with more speed than his teammate. Maxtrack long gone, though. And I think he has it here, unless he fails the ending. Looking really good. Only the identity has been eased up a little bit. Not too many slalom section. I think 1 has been removed in there. And there goes another draw. Sounds familiar, right?
It sounds a little bit too familiar, to be honest. But I guess we'll have to see if we're going to be seeing Rask confirming that this mistake early on in round 1 was a fluke, and that he's able to get a little bit more of a impactful position going for himself and for his teammate Maxtrack, as Nick Zolby got very close to the outside of the tree right there. And yes, indeed, Raz manages to clear the start. So far, so good. Jean-René getting a little bit of a head start through the tube section. First sector done, it will be Jean-René leading. Maxtrack going a little bit too wide and hitting the outside wall through the high-speed section, meaning that it will compound the speed loss all the way through up until the platform transition. Half a second being lost there. Ooh. And Raz will actually flip over. Ooh, and Maxtrack as well, completely full, picking into the side beforehand. And that means that we're going to be seeing a bit of a lockout from the Jean-René Nick Zolby duo, with Jean-René firmly ahead, not relinquishing anything, not even to his teammate right now. As we're seeing go through the slalom, he's going to be taking the win with a 55.816. That's painful for Frites Esport right there, to lose rounds in so many dumb ways.
Yeah, I hope that the momentum has not been evaporated for Frites Esport, because they had such a good start into the match, but getting that ace now just that is just a bummer, you know? Because they played very well, but then Razg and Maxtrack both did a mistake. Now Nixobi jumping here in the start, and also Jean-René missing out on that part as well. So it is looking quite good there for Razg and Maxtrack. Because they're first and second position, 4.5 seconds ahead. Also Nixobi with a mistake. So just when I talked about momentum, it seems that the ace wasn't that good for Oserv Homonosun, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It doesn't seem like it, but I mean, it should have been going for a bit significant boost to actually get the momentum going for themselves. But in the end, with mistakes like that, it ends up kind of backfiring very, very heavily. And now with Razg and Maxtrack, even though Maxtrack did have a little bit of a torrid time exiting the Ice Light section, it will be the immediate counter ace. Oserv not really able to take any advantage of that particular ace they got for themselves earlier on, as Razg finishes with a 54.933, dipping into the 54s, which is a pretty solid time.
Yeah, very good time here on Sinuous. We have seen Pussy Tupaco performing really good on this map. But it was banned last time. It was the Sinuous incident, and then Control was in there, where we had to redo pick and ban. Maybe you remember that. And yeah, the world record on this map, maybe worth to mention, is by Kebby, 54.31. Then we have Jemko on second position, and then Paco's on fourth place. But it is 4-4 right now, so let's focus on that round. Also interesting to see that hardly anyone goes for the S4D there, which you can do. You can speedside that corner in order to accumulate more speed, but you have to do it with hitting the brake button. And also Maxtrack didn't get the best start around here. Nixobi and Jean-René are still on second and third position. Nixobi not with the best line there though. Rask in the lead. Nixobi didn't get the gear, so it's now Frit Esport looking good in this round again because they're first and third. What can Jean-René do though? I think he's too far behind to have a saying, so let's go with Maxtrack again for the ending. It's their round to lose, and Rask with a mistake, so this could
Jean-René as well!
Oh, there's no way.
Jean-René has completely flunked it at the start, at the finish.
Dude, how did
Still second
Raz...
place for Jean-René.
What is happening? Well, how did Raz still get third position? I mean, Frit Esport probably is like, oh, okay, we got that victory, but an ace was so much in reach because Rask did an unnecessary mistake of steering in too early there.
Yeah, that was way unnecessary, but he must have been thinking his lucky stars that Jean-René had an even more unbelievable, well, basically ascended to, launched into space after the final slalom there, where he basically clicked the top of the plastic and that was it. He was just sent up into the air, and Rask, unfortunately, yeah, didn't get the proper slide, so he hit the walls not once but twice, and he gets relegated all the way to the back of the pack, 1 second down compared to the leading trio of Jean-René, Maxtrack, and Nixobi, though we see the gaps widening quite a bit, and we're kind of seeing this a bit of accordion effect as the track slows down and speeds up, but you can see the gaps are quite significant, and Jean-René gets too much airtime and gets head on into the side. Maxtrack inherits the lead as a result of this. Nixobi up into second position, and Razg up into third place, so once again, the Frit Esport team looking pretty good as we're seeing Maxtrack continuing to lead with a 4/10 lead over Nixobi right now through the identity, and Nixobi flunks it at the identity as well, getting gonged up by Raz, but he will be holding on to second position nonetheless. 55.300 from Maxtrack, and Frit Esport are on map point number 2 this match.
What is going on here? It is crazy how this map has developed and how many mistakes have happened, but it's such a hard map as well to do. Especially, like, for me, the hardest part on this map was the entry into the ice slide. You know, that one looked really hard to do, and it is Frit Esports, 8 points, Oserv Homonosun 6 points, but we see also a mistake here from Jean-René at the start, hitting just before the full speed section, and with that you will lose, of course, a lot of speed. So Frit Esports in need of first and third position. Nixobi has to get that first place. Gets a good line across here. Not the best amount of speed though, because he opted for an inside approach, so Maxtrack going into the lead again. That approach, it's what I mean, because if you get airtime, you just overjump the snow that you need to slow down. But Nixobi with a mistake, and I think that's it for Frit Esports. They will also win Sinuous here after 6 quite chaotic rounds on this map. A lot of mistakes have happened, but they have just capitalized more from them. 54.9 is also a good time, and there you go. It is 2-1. We go to map number 4.
Map number 4, and yeah. A bit of a messy map, to be honest. A lot messier than I probably would have expected. I don't know about you, but yeah, plenty of mistakes left, right, and center on both camps. and ultimately Frit Esport managing to make less mistakes than Oserv. I mean, that's a bit of an obvious one, duh. But yeah, that map proved to throw quite the curveball at the teams that were on the track. As we're moving on to map number 4, which is the Team Red pick, the last pick from Hominotsun and Oserv being Frosty. I was going to say Rusty, but no, we don't run on Rusty on Trackmania. I mean, maybe a surface side, yeah, I don't know what the grip would look like. It would just destroy tires.
Rusty. Yeah, Rusty. I mean, Frosty, maybe we're a bit rusty of seeing that map because we have seen this one in match number 1 today.
True.
And now we could see it as a decider because if Frit Esport win this one, they move on to day number 2. But then they still have to play one more match against the loser of the 3rd round in the winner bracket that will be played, or that is played right now actually. So simultaneously.
John is sliding out.
And no, wait, no, they already played. It's already certain who has, or like who will play tomorrow. Like the losers of the 3rd round of the winner bracket will play against the winners of this one. So we already know what is in there because it's like this double step in the lower elimination brackets. It's always like that. But yeah, Rask and Maxtrack off to a great start. Jean-René with a mistake. Nick Sobby also with a mistake there, just when I spectated him. So Maxtrack and Rask can save it here and then secure their first ace. It is 1 second between them. And it looks quite good for them. Only the identity left has been eased up a bit. This route is still very awkward to do because you're freewheeled. And then do 1 360 and an ice slide. And there you go, 104.50 from Maxtrack. Rask 0.4 behind. And that is a good start for Frit Esport on this map.
Yeah, good stuff for Frit Esport, which was kind of, well, helped by mistakes of both Nick Sobby and Jean-René, but Jean-René's mistake was even more compounding for the red team, given that he had basically lost the, I feel like he lost the gear maybe during the very first ice slide, that downward sloped curve to the left before jumping back into the grass. And yeah, that cost him dearly as he lost basically the slide and was forced to respawn. Let's see if there's going to be anything happening. No, this time Jean-René manages to keep the grip and get a little bit of a clip though. It seems as though, yeah, the landing didn't exactly fare so well for him as it did for Maxtrack as well. Maxtrack actually being forced to respawn, so that's even worse for him. In the meantime, Nick Sobby taking advantage of a mistake from Rask as well through the dirt. And yeah, now the gaps are way wider than what they were in the previous rounds. A lot more damage being done by Frosty on this round as we see Nick Sobby just sailing away into the lead, close to 2 seconds up on Rask right now. Jean-René and Maxtrack is going to be the battle to follow because they're in a lot closer proximity than both Rask and Nick Sobby are, and this could be important for the outcome of the round in terms of either reducing the gap or keeping the status quo the same for either Oserv or for the Frit Esport team, as Nick Sobby and Rask continue to just sail away into the lead. And yeah, Jean-René continuing to stay in 3rd place pretty nice and easy. Nick Sobby currently, yeah, will be finishing in 1st, Rask in 2nd, Jean-René will be finishing in 3rd, yet position will remain as is. And yeah, a lot of damage early on, actually. Yeah,
a lot of damage. There were so many mistakes that have happened, and Nick Sobby could have just saved it. You've also seen he lost 0.5 in the ending there towards Nick Sobby, who got 2nd position. So it is Frit Esport with 1 point, Oserv Hominotsun with 2. So it is 4-2. But still, Frit Esport getting a point out of it, so that is good. Of course, they should not get defeated in this round again. But in this round, it looks good for Jean-René. Gets a good start. Rask with such a wide outside line. Look at that amount of speed accumulated. And no one going for that tricky left approach, which is very hard in this round at least. And we see 2 mistakes in there. Jean-René has clipped a bit more. Nick Sobby also with the best exit there. I think one of the Frit Esport player has also made a small mistake, but didn't slow down accordingly compared to Jean-René, of course, because you have a reactor boost attached. The angle really is important in that case. And Rask and Maxtrack could get their next ace here if they just survive the identity in this round. Very important for them. Good slide over that freewheel section. Maxtrack on 1st. Rask with the best turn here, but it's still enough to stay ahead, but ever so slightly. 0.15 of a second. 7-2. Looking good for Frit Esport here to knock out Oserv Hominotsun.
Yeah, looking very good. Although it has to be said from the perspective of Razg, it was a little bit of a squeaky bum time through the final ice slide there just before the finish line, because you could just see in the corner of the screen the ghost from Nick Selby actually creep back up in frame and try to actually mount a challenge versus the Belgian. But yeah, map points and match points for Fleet Esport. Maxtrack and Razg on the verge of potentially getting themselves their ticket to day number 2 and their first match at 1 p.m. tomorrow. As we're moving through that round, Jean-René and Maxtrack having a really solid exit compared to that of Razg. Nick Selby also not that speedy out there, but still managing to remain within half a second. So no big casualty to report so far from the starting section in the first sector. Maxtrack continuing to lead just ahead of Jean-René. Razg in P3, and you can see Nick Selby trying to mount a challenge on Razg for the benefit of third position. Maxtrack getting overtaken by Jean-René as well. Razg getting a little bit hairy on the exit, but continues to make it stick. Maxtrack versus Jean-René. This is going to be the battle very much for the lead. I'm going to be having to focus our eyes on right now because it's still close proximity. Less than a tenth between first and second. Now 2/10 at the next split. From the perspective of Razg, you can see here that it was looking a little bit more in favor of Jean-René. As we're moving on to the identity now, Jean-René, Maxtrack, and Razg in that order. 1, 2, 3. Can Jean-René at the very least secure the draw and prevent the ace from happening for Team Fleet Esport? The answer is a yes for 2/10 of a second just ahead of Maxtrack and a 104.401. And OSEF continue to cling on, but they need to react quickly. They have a 5-point gap to make up. They're running out of time once again.
Yeah, they're running out of time. They need an ace, preferably in this round, and then a victory in the next round to just secure 5 points very quick. But even that victory for them would give Fleet Esport 1 point. They cannot really make another big mistake here, else it's over. But look at that start. Jean-René and Nick Selby in the lead right now. Razg with the outside line fails it this time. The exit can be very hairy, as you have also said that in this section, because Razg almost got a zoop there.
Jean-René slowing down actually.
From the dirt block. But it wasn't enough. But yeah, Jean-René not with the best line. Maxtrack now gets it really well. Look at the speed compared towards Nick Selby that he just accumulated there. Very good line. Second position would be good because 1 point would already be huge for Fleet Esport. Maybe he can even force a tie. But let's focus on this identity here for maybe the second last time. A miracle has to happen, or 2 aces in a row if Maxtrack now gets first or second place. Looking very, very good for him. Very good approach there, and he will get second place. Even though it was a bit wonky, Nick Selby gained a lot of time towards him, but Jean-René was too far behind. It is 9-5. Homenus soon in need of an ace.
Now, this is the critical point for both teams. For Fleet Esport, they must not let themselves go a little bit too easy on OSA. They need to continue sticking to their game plan and continue playing the rounds as if they were very, very contentious. And it's a very contentious one indeed. Whereas for OSA, they must absolutely continue piling on the pressure. They know they can actually pull something together, but they do need an ace. It's ace or bust right now for Nick Selby and Jean-René. Jean-René going so close to the outside wall on the dirt. Nick Selby going a little bit too close to the outside wall, so he will be dropping back down to third. And Razg also having made a very heavy contact with the wall in that same dirt part, so he will be down to P4. Jean-René full stop picking into the pole. Well, not quite full stop picking, but having a very significant contact. Retains the lead somehow. That is a very, very lucky escape from the former Hominatsun player, but Maxtrack is right where he needs to be, in second position, and he's got quite a buffer to manage. Nick Selby behind, and yeah, Jean-René going way too wide. Didn't get the slide, it seems like. Yeah, and that looks like it will be it, with Maxtrack inheriting the lead. And yeah, that will be a surefire victory and the win overall for Fleet Esport, who secured themselves a point in the spot in day 2 of this regional. Jean-René does not even finish, allows Nick Selby to move up into second place. Razg just does celebratory donuts, doesn't even need to reach the finish line. It is a victory, 10-6 on this last map for Fleet Esport, and a 3-1 win for Maxtrack and Razg, who knock out Nick Selby and Jean-René from the regional. GG.
Yeah, who would have thought that? For me, like, just before seeing the lineup, I thought that also Homenus would definitely have the upper hand there. But, I mean, great performance by Razg and Maxtrack, though.
Having encountered Maxtrack on a few occasions on LAN, first of all, he's a really cool dude, a little bit shy dude, but also a very, very strong player. I mean, I think he went all the way to the consolidation final at the Insta LAN or something like that. So yeah, he's definitely nothing to scoff out. So yeah, a pretty successful collaboration between Razg and Maxtrack as well, as we're moving on to our next match, which is Gravity Red versus Purple, split with a pretty one-sided map, and that means we're going to be heading potentially into Game 5 from what I see.
Yeah, could be Game 5. I mean, Purple Split has Quite comfortable lead here. They have 6 points of a gap and only need 1 more point in order to make it through. So this is the last match that is still ongoing. Ziggy with a mistake. Also such a player that maybe you've seen him in TDCs back then. Ziggy TM, dude.
TDCs.
Yeah, didn't he play TDCs? Does anyone in the chat can keep us updated on there? But I think so. Or is he a newer player?
Wait, Ziggy, from TTCs. Okay, I thought it
True
was
Talent Cups.
Yeah, I feel like that name does ring a bell, yeah.
Yeah, he's an old school player, if I recall it correctly. I definitely know that one. Or, like, I've heard of him in the past. But anyways, he plays together with Zolivagans. And Zolivagans in the lead. Better Toast and Any Betty will be playing map number 5 against Purple Splits. There you go. What time will it be? It is 53.3. So there you go, map number 5. And I'm hyped to see who goes through. We have 1 more spot up for grabs for tomorrow.
1 more spot up for grabs, and RyuHack7 will be the opponent for those that end up winning this match. And of course, that will be the opponents for the match of tomorrow versus Team Alkia. That would be the opening round along the rest of the lower bracket matches, of course, as we're moving on to Speed for our decider map. Now, this one is interesting because the start has been heavily truncated. The bump road long right-hander has been completely removed, but also the jump onto the plastic has been somewhat widened with the snow cliffs being completely removed. Also, the poles on the side of the bump road just after that have been completely removed as well, though the identity remains the same, and the very first no-brakes part and high-speed part remains the same as well. So there's still that little bit of speed essence that is going to be giving a little bit of a singularity to that map, which is, in my personal opinion, my favorite, because I love the really high speed stuff and just that kind of game of chicken that happens as we're going to get in that very first section. Who's going to be carrying the most speed, who's going to be lifting less, and Betatos is going to be scything his way through both Ziggy and Zolivagans to move up into the lead of the race. And Zolivagans does not even go for the drop down compared to Anibeti, so Anibeti moves up to 3rd and goes toe-to-toe with Ziggy through the dirt. As we move on to the plastic part, see a lot more open space, a lot easier to actually make it through safely onto the other side, not having to worry about the tight line. Then the poles having been removed, as I was explaining a little bit earlier. Unfortunately for Zolivagans, he went a little bit too far off to the side, so he hit the wall a little bit too far. The snake section remains, though, with the exact same length as the regular map, and the identity, of course. Betatos leading just ahead of Ziggy and Anibeti, just trying to release a little bit. Ziggy hitting the wall on the inside, and that means it will be the ace for Gravity Red, who will be opening the map 3-0 versus Purple Split.
Yeah, very good start here for the Germans. 3-0. Ziggy and Zolivagans have to step it up a little bit, maybe lacking consistency, but I also really like that map. Some hard elements have been removed. The start, for example, with the icy tires, doing that turn over that sausage part, can be quite tricky to nail, but in general, it's a very cool map, has a lot of different lines in there. Also, the jump versus the no jump here, and after that NASCAR section that Muda always opted for. You have that drift here, and then Muda opted for a no jump here, just drifting very far to the right. Same as Zolivagans, but look at that. Betatos now with a mistake had to respawn, and also Anibeti is not on first position, so this could be the first good chunk of points for Purple Split if they stay on first and third position, maybe even
Ziggy
first and second. But yeah, Ziggy with a good line here indeed. And Anibeti also jumping there, so Ziggy coming in closer. It is first and second for Purple Split. Into the identity we go. Everything can happen on that one though. And let's see if it is looking good or not for them. Ziggy with a mistake. No, that is very costly. Even Betatos overtakes him. Anibeti not with a lot of speed. Will it be enough for Ziggy to overtake? Yes, it will be. So it is still the victory for Purple Split, but still 1 point for Gravity Red.
I mean, this is one thing that we forgot to talk about, and another critical part of that map, and towards the end of the identity, is that little cruise control block. Because if you mess up the identity, or you release a little bit too much, you run the very real risk of getting zipped through into second position by someone else who is a lot faster than you behind, and that just goes through and blows by just before the final corner, and enabling some pretty significant snipes along the way as we're moving on to round number 3. Anibeti with a pretty solid first high-speed section. Zolivagans does hit the wall a little bit too hard on the right-hand side, so the Danish player will be demoted down to last place with 1 second disadvantage. And yeah, unfortunately for Ziggy, he also touches just before the jump into the plastic, which is the least efficient way to actually make it through, so he's going to lose in even more time compared to Zolivagans, and that means Betatos and Tmwt are going to be looking to try and widen that gap compared to Purple Split after having conceded the victory earlier on. Betatos and Tmwt almost hand in hand through the identity. They just need to make it through safe. They have a 1.2 second buffer over Zolivagans to manage. Looking very, very good indeed, and that is going to be the ace for Gravity Red with a 101.623, 3/10 ahead of Tmwt. So Zolivagans and Ziggy 3rd and 4th. Ziggy will cross the finish line now, and that is going to be map points and match points for Gravity Red, 7-2, and Purple Splits have the backs against the wall.
Yeah, they need Purple Splits in this round now. I mean, 7-2, 5 points away from Gravity Red. It is match point, and every point will just give Gravity Red a better outcome in the next round. You know, now they need an ace. If they get now, like, defeated, if Purple Split gets 1st and 3rd, it is 8-4. Of course, that is still not too bad, but then Purple Split needs to get an ace, and it was almost the ace in that one round where it was a draw. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. It is now Betatos with a mistake, so he's out on that round here. And Zolivagans and Ziggy are leading. Tmwt with a good entry into the plastic though, so he's not really too far behind. Make it 0.25 of a second, but still slows down quite a lot. Has to overdrift. Ziggy not with the best amount of speed here as well, but let's go into the identity after that hairpin section. Zolivagans almost with a mistake. Tmwt touching, so a lot of mistakes have happened. Ziggy and Zolivagans have to survive. Will they do so? Ziggy with a mistake, Tmwt with more speed, and that's what I mean. They at least get 1 point, and every point is in this case detrimental because they go up to 4 points now. They need to get that ace now in order to just stay alive.
Yeah, they're just running out of opportunities right now very, very quickly with those tiny, tiny mistakes, those tiny misalignments that do need to be adjusted at some point if they want to be competitive on that map, but they have to adjust it on the fly, which is very, very difficult to do when you're facing off against Gravity Red, who look to be a bit more at ease on this high-speed map compared to the duo of Purple Split right there, as we're moving on to the end of the first sector with that high-speed section. Zolivagans moving up into the lead, Betatos and Tmwt in 2nd and 3rd, Ziggy catching up to Tmwt to move up into 3rd position. Then we have Zolivagans continuing to lead, not going for the drop down compared to Betatos, but has better speed on the exit, so he will retain the lead, but by the skin of his teeth. Look at Betatos, he's within a 1/10 of a second of the leader from Denmark, as we're moving on with Ziggy going for a lower line compared to Tmwt over the plastic, and will recoup 3rd place right now as we're moving onto the last 1/3 of the map, with Betatos continuing to challenge Zolivagans for the lead. They're toe-to-toe, going onto the snaking section right here. Ziggy in P3, Tmwt just behind him in P4. Betatos continuing to try and make a move happen for the lead versus Zolivagans. It's going to the identity now. Zolivagans with a bit less speed compared to Betatos, but over the rest of the map is going to be Zolivagans winning just ahead of Betatos. Tmwt moving ahead of Ziggy once again. I'm imagining a little bit more of a release for Ziggy, or maybe of a touch of the wall, and that means we're on 9-5. Ace or bust for Purple Split if they want to snatch victory away from the jaws of defeat.
Yeah, it is ace or bust indeed, and also a victory in the next round is needed, at least for Purple Split to stay alive. 4 points between them. This is the last match of this play day. We have the second phase coming into play tomorrow. 4 more matches, and we're also going to be casting them. Ziggy with a mistake, and I think this is over. Tmwt and Betatos just have to save it here. They have 1 second to work with, and it also looks really, really good for them because the identity was done better by them in the past. That's why they're leading with 4 points here. And Zolivagans is still in there, but he needs his teammate because, as Geek said, ace or a bust. And right now, it looks to be a bust because Ziggy is 8 seconds behind, and I think that is it, guys. We see Gravity Red knocking out Purple Split, and I'm looking forward to see how Gravity Red will perform on that second day, if they can maybe just make it into the single elimination bracket again. I mean, not the fastest times here, but they could have saved it. And there you go. It is a 10-6 at the end. Speed has been conquered by Gravity Red. First time we see this map today, also as the decider. Yeah, in that case also in the last match. It was a good match, all things considered. We joined in at the right time, and it is Gravity Red winning it. GG's.
Gravity Red winning it and thus booking their spot into the last round of the lower bracket versus Team Alkia, of course. That is going to be one of the opening matches for tomorrow's action in the second regional for the European region here on the second stage of the Trackmania World Tour 2023. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I mean, it's not the end of the day just yet for Trackmania Esports, of course, because in just under half an hour, the stream will go back live with day 5 of the second stage of the Trackmania Challenger League with Kridi and Twiggy at the booth right here on the Trackmania channel, whereas we will be casting over on our personal channels, myself in French for Home Minute Soon, and Mr. Kai on twitch.tv/Turbo on his channel for alternate attacks, of course, commentating the prowesses of Wozil and Skandir, and just cheering on, and I got a cheer on as well for Feed and Nair for their season, because it's been kind of like seesawing, but I do believe that they can make themselves a bit more of a threat for the race to playoffs. And of course, the rest of the action for the regionals will be continuing tomorrow with APAC at 8 a.m. CEST. Then we also have the regionals for Europe with the final phases starting at 1 p.m. CEST before the big day, the 5th play day of Trackmania Grand League, of course, on the 28th, starting at 5 p.m. as usual. And we're starting off because I know that it will be Sinners versus Big as the opening match, and fingers crossed that we can keep the momentum that we had.
Preach. I mean, I'm a big fanboy in this season in general because Granadi and Massa are in there. You know, they're friends. But still,
they really turned the tide around.
Yeah, I hope that Sinners can make it eventually. But more about that tomorrow. We're gonna figure it out. Also, Bundesliga last play day is today. There's so much stuff going on. You know,
Monaco
but guys,
Grand Prix, Indy 500. Yeah, there's so much stuff.
There's so much going on. But guys, we will be back on our channels at 17 or 18 or whenever. We both are gonna be casting both matches, Geek and French. I will be casting in English. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the cast. We will be back on this channel tomorrow at 13 CEST, so just when we started today. And without further ado, I will send you over into the end screen. And thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. And goodbye. Enjoy your evening or your Saturday, wherever you are.
Godspeed, people.